Chapter 2265. Lejua was the most outstanding genius of his generation in the Lei clan. The Lei clan was the ruler of the Thunder World. Legend had it that countless eras ago, the Lei clan was the ruler of an era. At that time, the Lei clan had a brilliant great emperor named the Thunder Punishment Great Emperor. He swept across the myriad of worlds and led the Lei clan to the peak. That was the most glorious time of the Lei clan. Legend had it that the Tian Fa secret technique had a mysterious connection with the Thunder Punishment Great Emperor. However, the current Lei clan was no longer as strong as before. After so many years, no great emperor was born. They could only hole up in the Thunder World. Lejua grew up listening to the past glory of the Lei clan and the deeds of the Thunder Punishment Great Emperor. He swore to become the hope of the Lei clan, to strive for the position of Great Emperor, and to break the curse of the Lei clan. Therefore, Lejua had come to this ancient land of primal chaos with great ambition. Not only had he obtained many opportunities, but he'd also broken through the limit twice to reach the Earth realm. He'd also obtained the Lightning Clan seal and the Lightning Clan's destiny, allowing him to reach the final battlefield of primal chaos. Lejua was confident that as long as he was given another chance to break the limit for the third time, he would be able to unleash the unparalleled battle prowess of the Lei clan. He would sweep through the crowd and seize the position of Heaven's Chosen One. He didn't expect that the first person he would meet would be Ling Xiao. Although Lejua had heard of Ling Xiao's deeds, he had never seen him before. Therefore, he didn't recognize him. Instead, he wanted to use the method he left behind in the ruins to kill his first opponent and seize his fate. "You want to kill me? This ruin contains rich lightning origin energy. I'm afraid there's a lightning treasure, right? Furthermore, that treasure should have already fallen into your hands. If you're willing to give it to me, I might spare your life." Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His expression was calm and indifferent, as if he didn't care about the blazing lightning killing intent in the surroundings. Ling Xiao could feel the rich lightning origin energy in the ruins. Lejua's body also had the fluctuation of a treasure. Ling Xiao's incomparably sharp senses detected it. "Spare my life. You really don't know what's good for you. Since that's the case, I'll take your fate and your life," Lejua said domineeringly. His eyes were incomparably cold. Lightning surged around his body and an icy killing intent spread out from his body. Even though Lejua couldn't see through Ling Xiao's cultivation, he had great confidence in himself. Especially with the treasure he obtained from the ruins, he believed that no one would be able to withstand his wrath. Moreover, the golden fate above Ling Xiao's head made his heart burn. Although he didn't know the level of fate, he could feel that Ling Xiao's golden fate was unimaginably attractive to him. "Really? Then let me have a taste of the Thunder Clan's absolute art." Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a sharp glint appeared in his eyes. He also knew that the Heaven Punishment secret skill had a very mysterious relationship with the Thunder Clan. Legend had it that the Thunder Emperor of the human clan had once cultivated the supreme unique skill of the Thunder Clan. That was how he created the Thunder Emperor scripture that shook the heavens. "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Lejua's face darkened. Blazing lightning surged around his body, containing a terrifying destructive force. Lejua pulled his hands together, and a black lightning spear appeared in his palms. The spear radiance intertwined with terrifying lightning as it pierced through the air towards Ling Xiao. Boom! The void trembled violently as Lejua unleashed all of his strength. Furthermore, the powerful restrictive formation that he had set up was also activated in an instant. The lightning was like a waterfall as it enveloped Ling Xiao from all directions. Even though Lejua was confident, he was still extremely cautious when he attacked. He wanted to kill Ling Xiao with a single strike. He knew that anyone who could enter the chaotic ancient land was a supreme talent with their own trump cards. Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably deep. Facing Lejua, who was charging towards him, he simply threw out a punch. Kacha! The light of primal chaos shattered, and a vast and ancient chi burst out. Ling Xiao's fist rapidly expanded in the void, like a vast and ancient world, intertwined with golden lightning, rumbling and pressing down. Heaven and earth seemed to have flipped over at this moment. The endless lightning contained an aura that could destroy everything. It was like the punishment of the heavenly Tao that wanted to destroy this world. "This is Heaven's Punishment Secret Skill. I didn't expect you to be from the 9 Imperial Gates. Very well, I'll take both the Heaven's Punishment Secret Skill and your life. Lei Zhuo's body trembled. His eyes were burning with passion, and the lightning spear in his hand became even sharper. The Heaven's Punishment Secret Skill was the supreme technique of the 9 Imperial Gates. Legend had it that it was first passed down from the Lei clan. However, the Lei clan had long lost the Heaven's Punishment Secret Skill. Lei Zhuo had always wanted to snatch the Heaven's Punishment Secret Skill back from the 9 Imperial Gates. Now that he saw Ling Xiao using the Heaven's Punishment Secret Skill, his heart was burning with passion. Rumble. The lightning spear pierced through the sky and collided with Ling Xiao's fist. Blazing lightning exploded and swept away all the chaotic energy in the surroundings. However, Lei Zhuo's expression changed abruptly. He could feel an incomparably terrifying power erupting from Ling Xiao's fist. It was ferocious and overbearing to the extreme, causing his scalp to go numb. Gotcha! The lightning spear was shattered by Ling Xiao in an instant. The lightning that filled the sky was annihilated, and the surrounding lightning that was rushing towards Ling Xiao retreated abruptly. Break. Ling Xiao's gaze was sharp and his momentum did not decrease. He was like a peerless god of war as he used the Heaven's Punishment Secret Skill to destroy the powerful restriction that Lei Zhuo had set up. Lei Zhuo was sent flying. His blood and qi surged, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. You've actually reached the 3rd heaven realm. Who are you? Lei Zhuo's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. According to what he knew, although 108 geniuses had entered the chaotic ancient land, the number of people who had reached the 3rd heaven realm could be counted on one hand. Only the legendary Son of Heaven and the Undying Prince had reached the 3rd heaven realm. He had never thought that he would meet a heaven realm monster the moment he arrived. You don't need to know who I am, because in my eyes, you're already a dead man. Ling Xiao said indifferently. There was a trace of cold killing intent in his eyes. In the chaotic ancient land, there were many battles between geniuses. In order to seize each other's fate, one party had to pay the price of death. Chapter 2266. Arrogant. I don't care who you are, you must die. Lei Zhuo's eyes revealed a trace of madness. The terrifying aura around him rose and the lightning became even more intense. It was like a vast wave that enveloped his entire body. His palm glowed with divine light. Streaks of blood-red light converged from his body, forming a blood-red ball of light in his palm. It wrapped around a purple bead and slowly floated into the air. That purple bead was actually an eyeball. A sharp glint flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. He actually felt a strong threat from that eyeball. Brat, you should be proud to die under the eye of the Lightning Emperor. Lei Zhuo's voice was incomparably cold. It was filled with monstrous killing intent. In an instant, the eyeball emitted an immeasurable amount of light as purple clouds rose. Bolts of lightning shot across the sky, containing an incomparably terrifying energy fluctuation. Rumble. The eye of the Lightning Emperor shot towards Ling Xiao. The purple lightning started to burn like flames, causing the surrounding void to distort and tremble violently. The eye of the Lightning Emperor? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He guessed that the eye of the Lightning Emperor that Lei Zhuo was talking about was probably a treasure that he had obtained from these ruins. Ling Xiao didn't have the slightest fear. His gaze was still calm as he faced the eye of the Lightning Emperor that was flying towards him and punched out. Gotcha! The void shook violently as the chaotic light illuminated the 3,000 worlds. Ling Xiao punched out, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. It was as if 3,000 ancient worlds had appeared, containing a kind of energy fluctuation that could suppress everything. The fist of the Heavenly Emperor had exploded. Ling Xiao punched out like a dragon. At the same time, the lightning around his body was dazzling. He executed the Heavenly Punishment Secret technique in an attempt to neutralize the terrifying energy contained in the eye of the Lightning Emperor. Rumble. Ling Xiao's fist collided with the eye of the Thunder Emperor. In that instant, blazing waves of divine light erupted. The lightning was unparalleled, spreading out in all directions. It was like a vast ocean, drowning Ling Xiao entirely. Lei Zhuo's attack was also incomparably ruthless. After confirming that Ling Xiao's cultivation was at the heaven realm, he knew that he was no match for Ling Xiao. He immediately used his strongest trump card, the Eye of the Lightning Emperor. Ling Xiao's Heavenly Emperor fist was fierce and overbearing, causing the Eye of the Lightning Emperor to tremble violently. It was as if it couldn't withstand Ling Xiao's terrifying power. Whoa! The Eye of the Thunder Emperor trembled with a buzz, and a blazing purple vortex erupted from within. It was as if it contained a foreign world, wanting to swallow Ling Xiao into it. As the purple vortex spun, it was as if all the stars in the sky had gathered together, causing Ling Xiao to feel dizzy. His primordial spirit almost flew out of his sea of consciousness and merged with the purple vortex. Vaguely in the violet Eye of the Thunder Emperor, there seemed to be a violet figure sitting cross-legged. His body emitted a terrifying aura, and countless fiend gods were buried in his surroundings, causing him to look even more tyrannical, like a supreme emperor who could sweep through the heavens. The Eye of the Lightning Emperor. Is this really the Eye of the Lightning Emperor? Ling Xiao's heart trembled. His forehead emitted a bright light. Although the Eye of the Lightning Emperor contained extremely powerful mental energy, Ling Xiao's primordial spirit was also incomparably strong. With the wordless heavenly book's protection, it was almost invulnerable. Sensing the terrifying lightning origin energy contained in the Eye of the Lightning Emperor, Ling Xiao used the Heaven-Devouring Secret Technique and Heaven's Punishment Secret Technique. A mysterious whirlpool formed around him. Rumble. The Heaven's Punishment Secret Technique contained the lightning origin energy. Ling Xiao had also cultivated the Heaven-Devouring Secret Technique to perfection, forming the Heaven-Devouring Sacred Domain. Under Ling Xiao's devouring, the boundless energy in the Eye of the Lightning Emperor crazily surged into Ling Xiao's body. Kacha. Streaks of blazing lightning covered Ling Xiao's body, like divine chains of order. Under the refinement of the lightning origin energy, Ling Xiao's body became increasingly sparkling and flawless. A layer of sparkling and translucent cuticle even appeared on the surface of his skin, emitting an aura of eternal immortality. The acupuncture points on his body seemed to have been split open by lightning, forming a mysterious small world in the chaos. There was a mysterious figure sitting cross-legged in it. Although the figure's face was blurry, it was very similar to Ling Xiao. Leishua's face was filled with a cold smile. He was very clear about the terror of the Eye of the Lightning Emperor. Just a ray of light had caused him to be severely injured. If he hadn't used the Lightning Clan's foundation, he wouldn't have been able to obtain the Eye of the Lightning Emperor. He believed that even if Ling Xiao had the Heaven's Punishment Secret Technique, he would still die in the face of a treasure like the Eye of the Lightning Emperor. What? However, Leishua suddenly felt the Eye of the Lightning Emperor tremble slightly. A mysterious figure emerged from the endless sea of lightning. He couldn't help but tremble, and his eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. Ling Xiao, who had been devoured by the sea of lightning, actually emerged at this moment. Moreover, he was extracting the power of the Eye of the Lightning Emperor, and his aura began to gradually strengthen. How can he devour the power of the Eye of the Lightning Emperor? Damn it! This is impossible. Leishua's face was incomparably ugly, and his eyes revealed a mixture of shock and anger. For the first time, he felt that things had gone out of his control, and were developing in an uncontrollable direction. Rumble. His eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness and killing intent. Without thinking, he leaped into the sky, and the lightning war spear appeared in his palm once again. It was incomparably sharp, and directly pierced towards Ling Xiao's forehead. He had a feeling that if he didn't take advantage of this opportunity to kill Ling Xiao in one fell swoop, he would be in a very disadvantageous situation. The lightning war spear was a sacred treasure he had brought from the Lightning Clan. It was called the Calamity War Spear, and it possessed the supreme power to control the calamity. At this moment, it had completely erupted, like a black lightning dragon wreaking havoc. It was as if the heavenly Tao had sent a calamity to completely destroy Ling Xiao. Wang. However, when the Calamity War Spear was about to reach Ling Xiao's forehead, it was instantly caught by two sparkling jade-like fingers, and couldn't go any further. You want to kill me? Unfortunately, it's too late. Ling Xiao slowly opened his eyes, and there was a faint gleam of sharpness in his eyes. Kacha. His two fingers moved, and in an instant, the Calamity War Spear trembled violently. The surrounding lightning exploded, and the Calamity War spear trembled violently. Lejua's expression changed as he felt an irresistible force coming towards him. His arm went numb, and the Calamity War spear flew out of his hand in an instant. Whoosh! At the same time, a dazzling golden astral finger shot across the sky. It was Ling Xiao's finger. It was dazzling and exuded immortal energy waves. It was as fast as lightning and arrived in front of Lejua in an instant. Lejua didn't even have time to dodge. Puff! A bloody light flashed, and Ling Xiao's finger directly pierced through Lejua's forehead. Then, it rapidly destroyed the primordial spirit in his sea of consciousness, and a terrifying force erupted from his sea of consciousness. Lejua's body also exploded into a bloody mist in the air. Chapter 2267. Lejua had died in battle. Before he died, his eyes were filled with disbelief and fear. He didn't even have the time to beg for mercy before he died in Ling Xiao's hands. His ambition, his future, all of it had turned into nothingness at this moment. Until his death, Lejua couldn't figure out why the Eye of the Lightning Emperor couldn't do anything to Ling Xiao. He didn't even know Ling Xiao's name. The terrifying combat power that Ling Xiao had unleashed had made him feel despair. In the end, he died in an incomparably sullen manner. Boom! Ling Xiao's glabella shone and the wordless heavenly book unleashed a powerful devouring power, devouring all the fragments of Lejua's primordial spirit. Lejua's primordial spirit was very strong. Although it had been pierced by Ling Xiao's finger, it still contained boundless lightning origin energy. Now that it had been refined by the wordless heavenly book, the purest primordial spirit energy had been integrated into Ling Xiao's primordial spirit, making Ling Xiao's primordial spirit stronger. Ling Xiao even saw some of Lejua's primordial spirit fragments in the grass. However, before Ling Xiao had the time to examine Lejua's memories in detail, he heard two whizzing sounds. Their target was the Eye of the Lightning Emperor in the void. The Eye of the Lightning Emperor shone brightly in the void. It was enshrouded in purple clouds and blazing lightning. It looked like a purple divine sun with an incomparably powerful aura. As for the two figures that had broken through the air, they wanted to snatch the Eye of the Lightning Emperor. Courting death. A cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. He didn't expect that there would be people who dared to pick the fruits of his labor at this moment. Without thinking, he threw out a punch. At the same time, runes rose from his other palm and a blazing lightning vortex appeared. He executed the powerful Sky Punishment secret skill, and grabbed at the Eye of the Lightning Emperor. Rumble! Ling Xiao's punch was filled with anger, and he did not show any mercy. Terrifying divine energy erupted from his body, and it was as if a chaotic divine mountain had appeared in the void. It was vast and mighty, and it contained the power to suppress everything. The two figures paused for a moment. They also felt that Ling Xiao's punch was not to be trifled with. They did not choose to take it head-on. Instead, with a flash of light, they used the void teleportation technique to dodge Ling Xiao's punch. However, they had missed the best opportunity to obtain the Eye of the Lightning Emperor. Whoosh! The Eye of the Thunder Emperor shone brightly, and instantly turned into a stream of light, being grabbed by Ling Xiao. It's you! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed coldly as he stared at the two figures in the sky. They were two valiant young men. One wore Qilin armor, and held a halberd in his hand. His aura was incomparably sharp, while the other wore a five-colored Taoist robe. He looked handsome and confident, but his expression was incomparably arrogant. Ling Xiao had seen these two people before. They were the Nirvana Saint Sun and Origin Star Saint Sun. The two followers of the Son of Heaven actually appeared here. You are Long Outyan. The Nirvana Saint Sun and Yuanshan Saint Sun shuddered when they saw Ling Xiao. Fear appeared in their eyes. They had sensed the fluctuations of a great battle here. Furthermore, the aura of the Eye of the Lightning Emperor was too powerful. That kind of resplendent treasure light blossomed in the sky, attracting their attention. Therefore, they had the idea of snatching the Eye of the Lightning Emperor. However, they did not expect to meet Long Outyan here. Long Outyan was extremely powerful. They had seen the battle between him and the Son of Heaven. Although they did not think that Long Outyan would be a match for the Son of Heaven, they had to admit that Long Outyan was stronger than them. Nirvana Saint Sun, Yuanshan Saint Sun, you dare to snatch my things? How dare you? Ling Xiao laughed coldly. A trace of cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. He and the Son of Heaven had long been incompatible like fire and water. There would be a battle between the two of them. Ling Xiao naturally did not have any good feelings towards the followers of the Son of Heaven. He immediately wanted to kill them. Long Out Yin, don't misunderstand. We are just passing by. Sorry for disturbing you. Goodbye. The Yuanchen Saint Sun's expression changed slightly. He cupped his hands and bowed to Ling Xiao. Then he exchanged a look with the Nirvana Saint Sun and turned to leave. Want to leave? Leave your life behind. Ling Xiao's cold voice rang in the sky. In an instant, heaven and earth shook. The void rumbled and blazing divine light exploded. Ling Xiao's fist enveloped the Nirvana Saint Sun and Yuanchen Saint Sun. Rumble. At the same time, the lightning around Ling Xiao was unparalleled. He used the secret skill of heaven's punishment. Thick bolts of lightning covered the surroundings like a huge lightning barrier, cutting off the Nirvana Saint Sun and Yuanchen Saint Sun's escape route. It was fine if he did not make a move, but once he did, it was like a thunderbolt. Ling Xiao had no intention of letting the two of them leave. Long Out Yin, don't go too far. The Nirvana Saint Sun was enraged. His eyes were cold. The heavenly halberd in his hand bloomed with brilliant light. Unparalleled divine power erupted and suddenly slashed at Ling Xiao. The aura of nirvana enveloped his body. This attack had the infinite power to destroy heaven and earth. Although his cultivation was only in the earth realm, he was still the saint son of the Nirvana temple. He had inherited the secret skill of nirvana. His attack was also incomparably fierce. He knew that Ling Xiao was powerful, so he did not dare to be careless. He instantly used the secret skill of nirvana. Long Out Yin, do you really think we are afraid of you? Kill. The Yuanchen Saint Sun also shouted angrily. A five-colored ancient sword appeared in his palm. It flowed with the aura of the great Tao of the five elements. It pierced through the air toward Ling Xiao. 5 sword lights intertwined, each of them incomparably fierce. At the same time, the aura of the 5 elements rose around him. It seemed to form an ancient boundary of the 5 elements around him. The power of the 5 elements merged together perfectly, forming a perfect balance. Going too far? You should have thought of today's outcome the moment you joined the Emperor and ambushed me. Ling Xiao's voice was incomparably cold. His fist print swept through the void and pressed down mightily. He was like an invincible celestial emperor. His fist light illuminated 3,000 worlds and collided with the heavenly halberd in the Nirvana Saint Sun's hand. Rumble. Blazing light exploded, and a series of explosions sounded in the void. The Nirvana Saint Sun only felt an unparalleled divine power attacking him. The heavenly halberd trembled violently, as if it was about to fly out of his hand. Crack. At the same time, Ling Xiao reached out with his palm. It was like a huge blade light that separated heaven and earth. It directly broke through the powerful chi of nirvana around the Nirvana Saint Sun, and slashed at his head. Damn it! Chapter 2268. He suddenly spat out a black ball of light that bloomed in the void. In an instant, it split into 9 powerful boundaries in an attempt to block Ling Xiao's palm. At the same time, he grabbed the sky piercer halberd and slashed it behind him. It was as if he wanted to split the heavens and the earth and split the sea. He wanted to break through the endless lightning and escape. When he saw the battle between Ling Xiao and the Son of Heaven, he knew that Ling Xiao was very strong, but he did not think that Ling Xiao was much stronger than him. But now that they had exchanged blows, he knew that he was gravely mistaken. In front of Ling Xiao, he was like a child who had not yet grown up. It was as if he had no power to resist at all. Even if he used the Nirvana secret art, he was still not Ling Xiao's match. Rumble. Ling Xiao's palm blade slashed down from the sky. It contained an indestructible force and was extremely terrifying. It broke the 9 boundaries that the Nirvana Saint Sun had created. Even the 5 elements sword chi of the Yuanchen Saint Sun was instantly reduced to dust. The Yuanchen Saint Sun's expression changed as the terrifying palm blade slashed down. His entire body bloomed with 5-colored divine light. He trembled slightly and erupted with powerful void fluctuations. He dodged Ling Xiao's attack by a hair's breadth. The Nirvana Saint Sun was in a miserable state. His sky-piercer halberd landed in the blazing lightning. In an instant, the void trembled and lightning exploded. The bolts of lightning that were as thick as dragons did not shatter as the Nirvana Saint Sun had imagined. Instead, they were incomparably tough and directly sealed his sky-piercer halberd. Bolts of lightning struck the Nirvana Saint Sun's body, causing his entire body to tremble violently. He was severely injured. The tyrannical aura of Nirvana around him was also broken. His face was extremely pale, and he coughed up blood. Boom. Ling Xiao's gaze was incomparably cold. A monstrous fist print pressed down from the sky, erupting with terrifying chaotic light that seemed to be able to obliterate everything. It also illuminated the Nirvana Saint Sun's terrified and desperate eyes. Poof! Under such a terrifying punch, the Nirvana Saint Sun exploded in the air and turned into a bloody mist. His nascent spirit shrieked and tried to charge out of the bloody mist, but Ling Xiao was prepared and swallowed it whole. The sky-devouring secret art devoured everything, and the Nirvana Holy Sun only had his nascent spirit left. It was impossible for him to escape. The Nirvana Saint Sun had been completely annihilated. The Yuanchen Saint Sun was stunned. When he felt Ling Xiao's cold gaze on him, he couldn't help but shiver. His eyes were filled with fear, and he no longer had the will to fight. Run. He had to escape at all costs. The Yuanchen Saint Sun's eyes revealed a trace of madness. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and instantly drew an incomparably mysterious ancient rune character in the void. It was as if more than half of the Yuanchen Saint Sun's spirit had been sucked out and integrated into the ancient rune character. Boom. The ancient rune character wriggled violently in the void and then exploded. The surrounding chaotic mist was annihilated, and blazing divine light rose. The ancient rune character wrapped around the Yuanchen Saint Sun and wanted to rush out of the range of the sky punishment secret art. A sliver of surprise appeared in Ling Xiao's eyes. He could feel the profoundness of the ancient rune. It actually contained an exquisite escape technique. Even the seal of Tian Fa was unable to do anything to it. Although Ling Xiao was surprised, he didn't slow down at all. His hands formed a seal, and circles of brilliant light of reincarnation bloomed. In an instant, it was like a mysterious reincarnation passage that directly enveloped the Yuanchen Saint Sun. At the same time, Ling Xiao's body roared. He punched out, and a golden divine dragon traversed the 9 heavens, containing a domineering and annihilating aura, rushed toward the Yuanchen Saint Sun. Rumble! The ancient rune character enveloped the Yuanchen Saint Sun, and bloomed with 5-colored rays of light. It was about to break free from the seal of the sky punishment secret art, and disappear in front of Ling Xiao. But when it was enveloped by the light of reincarnation, it suddenly seemed as if it had fallen into mud. It struggled violently in the void, but there was no way to escape. At this moment, the golden divine dragon soared through the sky and suddenly slammed into the ancient rune character. Terrifying divine power erupted and directly blasted the ancient rune character into smithereens. How is this possible? How can you break my 5 elements celestial shift? The Yuanchen Saint Sun trembled, and his eyes were full of disbelief. He couldn't help but exclaim, "Boom!" At the same time, after the golden divine dragon blasted the ancient rune character, it blasted violently into the Yuanchen Saint Sun. But a layer of perfect 5 elements boundary emerged on his body. It trembled slightly and shattered the golden divine dragon. What a powerful defensive secret art. Ling Xiao stared at the Yuanchen Saint Sun with a look of interest in his eyes. He could feel that the Yuanchen Saint Sun was displaying the 5 elements secret art, which was also the secret art of the 5 elements celestial sect. It contained the original power of the 5 elements great ways. But it was the first time that Ling Xiao had seen such a perfectly balanced boundary art. Even if he used all his strength, it was difficult to break it. Rumble! Blazing lightning rose around Ling Xiao. He had displayed the sky punishment secret art. In an instant, the surrounding Zhou Tian shook, the wind and clouds changed, and endless lightning intertwined in the void. It vaguely seemed to form an incomparably mysterious eye. That was the Eye of Heaven Punishment. It was also one of the most powerful attacks of the sky punishment secret art. It could destroy everything. Feeling the terrifying aura of the sky punishment secret art, Even the Yuanqian Saint's son could not help but change his expression. He felt that even if the five elements' secret art was strong, it would be difficult to withstand the bombardment of the sky punishment secret art. Long Outtian, let me go. As long as you promise to let me go, I'll give you whatever you want. The Yuanqian Saint's son shouted with a look of anxiety in his eyes. At that moment, he felt the threat of death. If I kill you, everything on you will naturally be mine. Ling Xiao said indifferently. His expression was incomparably calm. He still walked slowly toward the Yuanqian Saint's son, as if he had no intention of letting him go. I have the inheritance crystal of the five elements secret art. As long as you let me go, I'll give it to you. If you insist on killing me, I'll choose to self-destruct. At that time, you won't get anything. The Yuanqian Saint's son gritted his teeth and said with a trace of madness in his eyes, the inheritance crystal of the five elements secret art? Let me take a look. Ling Xiao said after thinking for a while. If you promise to let me go, I'll give you the inheritance crystal of the five elements secret art. Chapter 2269. Yuanqian, don't bargain in front of me. A five elements secret skill inheritance crystal is not enough to buy your life. If I had not stopped the undying prince, you would have died in his hands. You owe me 2 lives. Do you think you can live with a mere inheritance crystal? Ling Xiao sneered. Yuanqian Saint's son's expression froze. He had no way to refute Ling Xiao's words. Speaking of which, he was indeed the one who repaid kindness with enmity first. Originally, he and Ling Xiao had no grudges before. Ling Xiao had saved his life, but he had turned to the emperor and set a trap to kill Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao did have a reason to kill him. Yuanqian Saint's son did not dare to anger Ling Xiao. He gritted his teeth and took out the five elements secret skill inheritance crystal and threw it to Ling Xiao. This is the five elements secret skill inheritance crystal. I know it's not enough. I'll just take it as repayment for saving my life. I want to use a piece of information to buy my life. Yuanqian Saint's son quickly said to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao took the inheritance crystal and probed it with his primordial spirit. A moment later, a look of satisfaction appeared in his eyes. This was indeed the five elements secret skill inheritance crystal. What information do you think can buy your life? Ling Xiao played with the inheritance crystal and looked at Yuanqian Saint's son with a half-smile. The place of inheritance of the flowing time emperor. There are the supreme inheritances of the flowing time emperor, the secret skill of space-time, and the time compass. Yuanqian Saint's son gritted his teeth. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He did not expect to hear about the inheritance of the flowing time great emperor from the Yuanqian Saint's son. It should be known that he already had 3 flowing time compasses and a fragment of the flowing time great emperor. The space-time secret skill was one of the most mysterious secret skills, second only to the chaos secret skill, fate secret skill, karma secret skill, and reincarnation secret skill. It was ranked 5th in Heavenly Dipper. The power of time was a taboo power. Even a sage would find it difficult to touch the power of time. Legend had it that only the Supreme Emperor could control the power of time. The Flowing Time Emperor was one of the strongest Supreme Emperors in the ancient times. He was on par with the Space Emperor. Even the inheritance of the Space-Time Heavenly Gate came from the Flowing Time Emperor and the Space Emperor. However, according to what Ling Xiao knew, the current Space-Time Heavenly Gate only had the complete Space Sutra and did not have the inheritance of the Flowing Time Emperor. Ling Xiao had 3 time compasses on him. According to his guess, there should be 9 time compasses. Only when the 9 time compasses merged into one would the Flowing Time Emperor's inheritance truly appear. Then tell me, where is the Flowing Time Great Emperor's inheritance? Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. He had already determined that Yuanqian Saint's son was deceiving him, but he did not expose him. Instead, he asked with interest. Seeing that Ling Xiao was interested, Yuanqian Saint immediately became spirited and said, "The Flowing Time Great Emperor is one of the most ancient great emperors in the ancient times. He is known as the embodiment of time. To be able to control the forbidden power of time, his combat power is unparalleled. Even a great emperor would find it difficult to contend against him. If you can obtain his inheritance, You will be able to directly control the power of time. You will definitely be able to sweep through all the heroes. Even Lord Tianzi will not be your match. Not to mention the flowing time Great Emperor's time compasses. This is definitely the #1 treasure in the chaotic ancient land. I can tell you the location of the flowing time Great Emperor's inheritance, but you must swear by the heavenly Tao that you will spare my life and let me go. Yuan Chen Saint Sun stared at Ling Xiao, looking a little nervous. But to his disappointment, Ling Xiao's expression was very indifferent. He could not see anything strange at all. How do you know the location of the flowing time Great Emperor's inheritance? Ling Xiao asked noncommittally. You should have met the Saint Son of the Space-Time Heavenly Sect, Sherbufan. I have a good relationship with him. He originally invited me to go with him to find the flowing time Great Emperor's inheritance. He also has the key to open the inheritance. I know the location of the flowing time Great Emperor's inheritance from him. Yuan Chen Saint Sun quickly explained. Sherbufan? He has the key to open the inheritance in his hands? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Sherbufan has other ways to open the flowing time Great Emperor's inheritance? Ling Xiao saw that Yuan Chen Saint Sun's expression did not seem to be fake. It should be true. Now that this was the case, it meant that the flowing time Great Emperor's inheritance was really in the chaotic battlefield. I can spare your life, but you have to personally bring me to the flowing time Great Emperor's inheritance, Ling Xiao said as he looked at Yuan Chen Saint Sun indifferently. All right. Yuan Chen Saint Sun's eyes revealed a trace of bitterness. He knew that Ling Xiao was worried about him, so he asked him to personally lead the way. I, Ling Xiao, swear by my primordial spirit that if Yuan Chen Saint Sun can really bring me to the flowing time Great Emperor's inheritance, then I will spare his life and let him go. The heavenly Tao is my witness, Ling Xiao said slowly with a strange syllable. At the same time, his glabella shone slightly, and a wisp of primordial spirit blood flew out, forming a strange rune in the void. Suddenly, the world trembled slightly. This was a reaction from the heavenly Tao. If Ling Xiao violated the oath, he would be spurned by the heavenly Tao and be rejected by it. Not only would his cultivation not improve, but he might even die from qi deviation. Seeing that Ling Xiao had really made the oath with his primordial spirit, Yuan Chen Saint Sun secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Don't worry, I will bring you to the flowing time Great Emperor's inheritance, Yuan Chen Saint Sun quickly said when he saw Ling Xiao's gaze fall on him. Lead the way, Ling Xiao said indifferently. All right. Yuan Chen Saint Sun carefully glanced at Ling Xiao, took a deep breath, and instantly leaped up, flying into the distance. Ling Xiao followed closely behind him. Yuan Chen Saint Sun could feel a cold murderous intent locking onto him. It was as if he dared to make the slightest move, he would instantly be killed by Ling Xiao's lightning. After seeing Ling Xiao's terrifying combat strength, Yuan Chen Saint Sun did not dare to take the risk and obediently led the way in front. On the chaotic battlefield, light was dense, and mist rose. Chaotic light constantly exploded in all directions, forming a mysterious scene that looked like the creation of heaven and earth. From time to time, ancient sacred mountains floated in the chaos, exuding a majestic aura. Ling Xiao's expression was calm, but the golden destiny above his head had expanded. After killing Lei Zhua and Nirvana Saint Sun, Ling Xiao had devoured their destinies, and his own destinies had become stronger. As Ling Xiao flew, he also digested the primordial spirit fragments of Lei Zhua and Nirvana Saint Sun. At the same time, the wordless heavenly book also slowly devoured the 5 elements secret skill inheritance crystal. Rumble. In Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, it was as if heaven and earth had been opened. Blazing lightning rose and 5-colored divine light intertwined, containing the majestic aura of the 5 elements Grand Tao. An ancient and mysterious scripture emerged from the wordless heavenly book. Chapter 2270. Ling Xiao had once obtained the secret arts of the 5 elements from the steel of 5 elements. Coupled with the secret arts of yin-yang he had obtained from Jin Sei, he had broken through to the 2nd level of ascension. Now Ling Xiao discovered that the secret arts of the 5 elements was surging with resplendent divine light, making the secret arts of the 5 elements in the wordless heavenly scripture somewhat complete. This isn't the real secret arts of the 5 elements. Is this the legendary scripture of the 5 elements? It's a pity that it's not complete. A sliver of surprise flashed through Ling Xiao's eyes. He discovered that the secret arts of the 5 elements in the crystal of 5 elements were not exactly the same as the ones he had obtained in the Avalon of 5 elements. There were some subtle differences, but they corroborated each other, allowing Ling Xiao to gain a deeper understanding of the origins of the great ways of the 5 elements. It was very similar to the supreme scripture of the 5 elements celestial sect, the scripture of the 5 elements. The scripture of the 5 elements in the crystal of inheritance actually stirred up the wordless heavenly scripture. It trembled slightly, allowing the secret arts of the 5 elements to emerge once more. The wordless heavenly book trembled slightly. Immediately, the secret technique of the 5 elements turned into a vast torrent of information that surged into his sea of consciousness. In Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, an incomparably sharp sword mountain appeared. A forest that contained boundless vitality appeared. A boundless ocean appeared. A blazing flame appeared. And a thick and ancient land appeared. Ling Xiao gradually comprehended the true meaning of the 5 elemental origins of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. His understanding of the world became much clearer, and his presence became more ethereal as well. The secret arts of the 5 elements contain the secrets of the 5 elements. It could be described as a key to Ling Xiao's comprehension of the world. Combined with the secret arts of yin and yang, it allowed Ling Xiao to comprehend all the laws of the world. He could even decipher powerful divine arts and saint techniques instantly. In Ling Xiao's eyes, the world had turned into mysterious lines of laws. They combined together in a mysterious state, forming all things in the world and countless living beings. The secret arts of the 5 elements appeared on the wordless heavenly scripture. It shone with dazzling multicolored light, enveloping the entire scripture. Ling Xiao could feel a mysterious power slowly awakening within the wordless heavenly book. His control over the wordless heavenly book had also become stronger. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain once told me that I had to obtain the 12 sky arts in order to become a saint. Could it be that I have to completely control the wordless heavenly book in order to avoid any hidden dangers? Ling Xiao thought to himself. The Emperor of Kunwu Mountain had once told him that the wordless heavenly book was not as simple as it seemed on the surface. It might be an ominous item, so he advised Ling Xiao not to overly rely on the wordless heavenly book. He also said that if Ling Xiao wanted to completely control the wordless heavenly book, he had to obtain the 12 sky skills before he became a saint. Now Ling Xiao was getting closer and closer to completing the 12 sky arts. Ling Xiao also felt that his control over the wordless heavenly book was getting stronger and stronger. Ling Xiao also began to think about the deeper meaning of the Kunwu Mountain Emperor's words. The combination of the 5 elements scripture, the 5 elements secret technique, and the yin-yang secret technique can produce a supreme forbidden technique, the rainbow heavenly light. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat as he became slightly excited. He discovered that the 5 elements scripture in the inheritance crystal and the 5 elements secret technique complemented each other. In addition, the yin-yang secret technique produced a mysterious transformation as a complete forbidden technique vaguely appeared. The forbidden technique, the rainbow heavenly light, contained the origin power of the great Tao of the 5 elements and yin and yang. It could destroy all techniques in the world and destroy everything in its path. It was incomparably terrifying. Even the most powerful holy treasures would be instantly disintegrated into their most basic state under the rainbow heavenly light, and lose all power. Ling Xiao guessed that perhaps only an apex emperor weapon could withstand the power of the rainbow heavenly light. Speaking of which, the rainbow heavenly light is also the power of the combination of secret techniques. If I can combine all 108 secret techniques together, how powerful will it be? Ling Xiao's heart trembled. He hadn't thought that obtaining the 5 elements secret technique would yield such a great harvest. I hope the Nirvana Saint Sun's origin spirit won't disappoint me. The complete Nirvana secret technique will depend on him. Ling Xiao thought to himself as he began to devour the Nirvana Saint Sun's origin spirit again. He carefully sent the Nirvana Saint Sun's origin spirit into the wordless heavenly book. Since the Nirvana Saint Sun was the #1 prodigy of the Nirvana Temple, He must have the supreme inheritance of the Nirvana temple on him. The Nirvana secret technique should be in his origin spirit. Crack. Ling Xiao saw the Nirvana Saint Sun's origin spirit slowly disintegrate under the wordless heavenly book's devouring. The powerful restrictions within were also shattered. As the successor of the Nirvana temple, the Nirvana Saint Sun must have left all sorts of measures in his origin spirit to prevent others from possessing or searching his soul. However, those measures were useless in front of the wordless heavenly book. The wordless heavenly book easily broke through them. Rumble. Resplendent scriptures slowly appeared in the depths of the Nirvana Saint Sun's origin spirit, and were absorbed by the wordless heavenly book. Ninth in the heavenly dipper realm, the Nirvana secret technique. As Ling Xiao expected, after refining the Nirvana Saint Sun's origin spirit, he finally found the complete Nirvana secret technique. The aura of Nirvana emerged in Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, allowing him to begin to comprehend the true meaning of the Nirvana secret technique. His aura became even more unfathomable. On the way to the flowing time emperor's inheritance, Ling Xiao had not only obtained the complete Nirvana secret technique, but also a supreme forbidden technique, the rainbow heavenly light. Although he did not cultivate it, his sea of consciousness was constantly evolving the true meaning of the Nirvana secret technique and the rainbow heavenly light, allowing him to have a deeper understanding of these two secret techniques. Brother Long, the flowing time emperor's inheritance is over there. The Yuanchen Saint Sun's voice suddenly sounded, waking Ling Xiao from his cultivation state. The Yuanchen Saint Sun did not know of Ling Xiao's changes during this period of time. If he knew that Ling Xiao had obtained two secret techniques in such a short period of time, and that his strength had greatly increased, it was hard to say if he would have taken out the 5 elements secret techniques inheritance crystal so readily. At this moment, he pointed at the mountain floating in the chaotic void, and said with some surprise, "There." A sharp light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. He saw a lush green mountain floating in the chaotic mist in front of him. On the mountain, ancient trees towered into the sky. Clouds and mist were faintly discernible, containing a majestic aura of life. It looked like a paradise. It should be known that the mountains on the chaotic battlefield were all barren mountains without any aura of life. The sudden appearance of such a green mountain naturally surprised Ling Xiao. That's right. This is the Flowing Time Emperor's inheritance ground, the Flowing Time Green Mountain. The Yuanchen Saint Sun said with great certainty. Chapter 2271. Green Age Mountain was the most special place in the Chaos Battlefield. This mountain seemed to be independent of the Chaos Battlefield, and contained a majestic source of life. It had not been invaded by the Chaos energy. On the mountain, ancient trees towered into the sky, waterfalls flowed, and old vines and precious herbs shone brightly. Wisps of auspicious vapor rose from them, making it look extremely mysterious and peaceful. Green Age Mountain? There's such a strong power of time here? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with light. He saw that the surrounding void of the Green Age Mountain was distorted into a ball. Lines of time intertwined with each other, forming a chaotic domain. There, time seemed to have become chaotic and disorderly. Ling Xiao was very curious about how those ancient trees existed. After all, in that chaotic domain, tens of thousands of years might pass in the blink of an eye, or billions of years might pass in an instant. However, from Ling Xiao's point of view, those green ancient trees and all kinds of strange flowers and herbs did not seem to have changed at all. Brother Long, you're right. The Green Age Mountain is shrouded in the chaotic domain of time. Ordinary people can't enter at all. It's very likely that all of their lifespan will be instantly cut off, and they will turn into a pile of bones. After all, even a sage, although known to be immortal, is not immortal. There's still a limit to one's lifespan. Yuanchen Saint said with a wry smile. Then how do we get in? Ling Xiao asked faintly. There's only one way to enter. That is to obtain the token left behind by the Flowing Time Great Emperor, the Time Compass. Otherwise, there's no way to enter the Green Age Mountain. Yuanchen Saint glanced at Ling Xiao cautiously and said, I remember that I spared your life on the premise that you lead me to the inheritance of the Flowing Time Great Emperor. Now that we're at the Green Age Mountain but can't enter, I can still kill you. Ling Xiao said expressionlessly. Brother Long, since I promised to lead you to the inheritance of the flowing time great emperor, I naturally won't go back on my word. I hope you can keep your promise, and let me go when you find the inheritance of the flowing time great emperor. Yuanchen Saint gritted his teeth and stared at Ling Xiao. What way? Ling Xiao asked noncommittally. The time heavenly gates Shirbufan once gave me a time Dao talisman that can protect us from the invasion of the power of time. As long as we enter the time green mountain and find Shirbufan, we will naturally be able to find the inheritance of the time emperor. The Yuanchen Saint Sun explained. His palm shone brightly, and a mysterious ancient talisman appeared. It contained an extremely rich power of time. Time Dao talisman? Sure. As long as I can find the inheritance of the flowing time great emperor, I'll let you go immediately. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He glanced at the time Dao talisman, and discovered that it indeed contained a type of power that could resist the invasion of the power of time. It was the power of the time compass that was sealed within this ancient talisman. However, if the power within the Dao talisman was exhausted, it would naturally be unable to resist the invasion of the power of time. Ling Xiao had 3 time compasses on him. He also cultivated an incomplete version of the time Dao talisman. Naturally, he could see the essence of the time Dao talisman. However, Ling Xiao did not say anything about it. Through the God clan mark in his primordial spirit, Ling Xiao had discovered that there were 4 or 5 powerful forces of luck in the Time Green Mountain. There should have been 4 or 5 supreme talents who had entered the Time Green Mountain. The Yuanchen Saint Sun did not tell him about this. Ling Xiao was sure that the Yuanchen Saint Sun was up to something, but he really wanted to see what the Yuanchen Saint Sun was up to. After all, he still needed the Yuanchen Saint Sun to lead the way to the inheritance of the flowing time emperor. Buzz. The time Dao talisman in the Yuanchen Saint Sun's palm shone with a dazzling light. In an instant, it formed a mysterious boundary that enveloped Ling Xiao and the Yuanchen Saint Sun. Let's go. The Yuanchen Saint Sun glanced at Ling Xiao, and then stepped into the Time Green Mountain. Ling Xiao's expression was calm and indifferent as he followed the Yuanchen Saint Sun into the Time Green Mountain. Rumble. After entering the Time Green Mountain, Ling Xiao immediately felt the strangeness of this area. The void was trembling slightly, and the surrounding forces of time were extremely chaotic, containing a terrifying destructive force. Perhaps ordinary people would not be able to discover it, but Ling Xiao's eyes, after integrating the yin-yang secret skill, could see through illusions and see the essence. He could see the strangeness of this place at a glance. The forces of time had formed mysterious vortexes. Some of the vortexes could instantly deprive a person of hundreds of millions of years of life, and some of the vortexes could directly stop time. If one rashly stepped into one of them, one would be instantly frozen and become a walking corpse. This area was extremely dangerous. Ling Xiao could feel the terror of the chaotic time domain. Perhaps even a sage would have no way to resist it. However, Ling Xiao was keenly aware that the Yuanchen Saint Sun did not look flustered at all. He was very calm, as if he had something to rely on. This made Ling Xiao even more curious. Could it be the Yuanchen Saint Sun also has a time compass? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. Perhaps only the Yuanchen Saint Sun had a time compass, which could explain why he knew the location of the Time Green Mountain, and why he had the Time Dao talisman. As for the space-time heavenly gate Saint Sun, Shirbufan, it was probably just an excuse. If that was the case, it would be interesting. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. The time compasses had a very strong connection with each other. However, the 3 time compasses that Ling Xiao obtained were all sealed in the depths of the wordless heavenly book, isolating all auras. Basically, no one could sense the fluctuations of the time compasses on his body. The Yuanchen Saint Sun led Ling Xiao to the top of the Time Green Mountain. The closer they got to the top of the mountain, the more terrifying the chaotic time domain became. When they reached the top of the mountain, Ling Xiao could feel that the surrounding chaotic forces of time seemed to have formed a terrifying storm, as if it could devour all life. On the top of the mountain, Ling Xiao saw the 5 powerful auras that he had sensed. Among the 5 figures, 4 of them had unfamiliar faces. Ling Xiao did not recognize them. They should be geniuses from other macro worlds, but Ling Xiao was very familiar with one of them. The space-time heavenly gate Saint Sun, Sherbufan. Buzz. Above the heads of the 5 figures, there was an ancient compass floating. Strands of light fell, protecting the 5 of them. The time compass. Chapter 2272. If there are 9 pieces of the time compass, I have 3 pieces. In addition to these 5 pieces, there is still 1 piece missing. It should be with Yuanchen Saint Sun. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he looked at Yuanchen Xingzi. Boom. At this moment, the time Dao talisman above Ling Zhao's head suddenly shattered. Blazing light gushed out, and the surging power of time madly rushed towards Ling Xiao and Yuanchen Saint Sun. The radiance above the Yuanchen Saint Sun's head was dazzling. In an instant, a time compass appeared, protecting his entire body. The Yuanchen Saint Sun turned into a stream of light, shooting into the distance like lightning. Ah! Long Out Yin, let's see if you can survive in this chaotic time zone. Yuanchen Saint Sun's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. His expression was indifferent as he laughed loudly. Along the way, he had felt extremely aggrieved, but his forbearance was all for this moment. Now that he had seen Ling Xiao being swallowed by the time chaos region with his own eyes, Yuanchen Saint's eyes were filled with indescribable joy. In this chaotic time zone, even Ling Xiao would die without a doubt. Even if he did not die, Yuanchen Saint Sun had the time compass, and was already in an invincible position. When the time came, killing Ling Xiao would only take a moment. This was his scheme and conspiracy. He used the inheritance of the Flowing Time Great Emperor to lure Ling Xiao, and then took drastic measures in the Flowing Time Mountain to deal a fatal blow. In his opinion, Ling Xiao was already dead. Rumble. The chaotic time laws all around were like a storm, madly rushing towards Ling Xiao, almost drowning him in an instant. At this moment, Sherbufan and the other 4 also noticed Yuanchen Saint Sun and Ling Xiao. They showed a vigilant look, but their eyes were still cold and they did not say anything. Only Sherbufan was shocked. After seeing Yuanchen Saint Sun, he was a little surprised, as if he did not understand why Yuanchen Saint Sun would appear here. However, he seemed to have thought of something and suddenly shouted, "Brother Yuanchen, be careful. Long Out Yin also has the time compass." What? Yuanchen Saint Sun's laughter came to an abrupt end. After hearing Sherbufan's words, he could not help but tremble, and a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. Boom. At this moment, behind the Yuanchen Saint Sun, lightning blazed and dazzling, and the chaotic time storm exploded. A white-robed figure came from the sky, with 3 ancient time compasses above his head, and punched towards the Yuanchen Saint Sun. Ling Zhao's gaze was incomparably cold. As he had expected, the Yuanchen Saint Sun did not have good intentions. If he did not have the time compass, he probably would not have been able to deal with the time chaos zone. Even if he did not die, he would have been severely injured in an instant. The Yuanchen Saint's intentions were vicious, but unfortunately he did not expect that Ling Xiao would have more than 1 time compass in his hands. The terrifying fist print contained chaotic light, as if it had opened up heaven and earth in the void. It contained the power to destroy heaven and earth, and directly blasted on Yuanchen Saint's body. How could you have the chrono compass? The smile on Yuanchen Saint Sun's face froze, and his eyes were full of uncontrollable horror. He could not believe that Ling Xiao had the time compasses. Unfortunately, he heard Ling Zhao's answer. The punch was too terrifying. Yuanchen Saint Sun's body suddenly exploded, turning into a bloody mist and completely turning into powder. His primordial spirit had no way to escape. It was directly swallowed by the devouring vortex between Ling Zhao's eyebrows, and suppressed in the wordless heavenly book. Buzz. The golden fade above Ling Zhao's head became more and more dazzling, blooming with infinite light, making him look mysterious. Swoosh. Yuanchen Saint Sun's compass trembled slightly in the void after he was killed by Ling Xiao. It wanted to fly away, but was caught by Ling Xiao. All of this happened in an instant. Even Sherbufan did not have time to rescue Yuanchen Saint Sun, before he saw Yuanchen Saint Sun get killed by Ling Xiao. Seeing the 3 compasses above Ling Zhao's head and the Yuanchen Saint Sun's compass in his hand, Sherbufan's eyes showed a trace of jealousy. There were a total of 9 time compasses, and Ling Xiao had taken 4 of them. Even the other 4 sky prides were eager to try. It was as if they wanted to snatch it at any time. However, they seemed to have thought of how Ling Xiao had killed the Yuanchen saint, and gave up in the end. Long Outyan, you killed Yuanchen saint's son? The emperor will not let you go. Shirbufan stared at Ling Xiao and said coldly, Emperor? There will be a battle between him and me sooner or later. Unfortunately, you won't be able to see it. Shirbufan, hand over the time compasses, and I will leave you a complete corpse. Ling Xiao said indifferently. His eyes were blazing with a strong killing intent as he looked at Shirbufan and the other 4 supreme talents. Ling Xiao's killing intent had already been aroused. He wanted to kill all 5 of them and snatch their time compass. After all, Ling Xiao could tell at a glance that these 4 people had a close relationship with Shirbufan. They were probably in the same group as Shirbufan. Moreover, Ling Xiao had already sensed that they wanted to kill him. Long Outyan, you are too arrogant. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have 4 time compasses. The inheritance of the flowing time emperor is destined to belong to me, Shirbufan. No one can snatch it away. Shirbufan's eyes showed a trace of madness. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood on the time compasses. Rumble. Suddenly, the time compasses above his head began to shine with an incomparably blazing light. It instantly soared into the sky and floated above the time green mountain like a bright divine sun. The time green mountain also began to tremble violently. A dazzling torrent of time shot out from it like a vast ocean, wrapping around the time compasses. At the same time, the other 4 supreme talents' time compasses, as well as Ling Xiao's 4 time compasses, began to tremble violently. In an instant, they soared into the sky and flew into the vast torrent of time. The 9 time compasses gathered together at this moment. They were like 9 dazzling suns, floating in the void and emitting an incomparably powerful aura. Kacha! The 9 time compasses erupted with an ancient and vast light, connecting into a line. A dazzling light shot out from the 9 heavens, and instantly pierced through the time green mountain. The time green mountain actually split open from the middle. Endless chaotic mist filled the air as the power of time intertwined. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. An ancient and mysterious palace appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 2273. Rumble. The ancient divine palace stood in the chaotic void, surrounded by the chaotic power of time. It was shrouded in dazzling divine light, looking mysterious and ancient. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could feel that the divine palace contained a vast amount of time origin energy, as if it was the origin of all time, and also the return of the river of time. It looked extremely mysterious. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At that moment, a powerful suction force suddenly came from the divine palace. Ling Xiao, Shirbufan, and the other 4 felt a surge of divine power rolling towards them, sucking them into the divine palace. Ling Xiao and the others did not resist, as they did not feel threatened. They knew that it was the effect of the time compass, and they probably had the qualifications to obtain the inheritance. After all, the 9 time compasses were scattered across the heavens, and the time emperor had left the place of inheritance here, probably to find a successor. They, as well as the dead Yuanchen saint, were all candidates. Rumble. Dazzling light exploded in front of Ling Xiao, and he appeared in an ancient and mysterious space, surrounded by chaotic mist. The sky was dark, and time seemed to be in a state of disorder, and everything became meaningless. Shirbufan and the other 4 also appeared nearby. Their eyes were filled with vigilance as they looked at Ling Xiao. Under the strong pressure from Ling Xiao, the 5 of them stood on the same line, opposing Ling Xiao, guarding against him. The combat strength that Ling Xiao had just displayed was too terrifying. The Yuanchen saint's strength was not much different from theirs, but he could not withstand Ling Xiao's punch and was killed directly. If Ling Xiao attacked them, it would be difficult for the 5 of them to resist even if they worked together. Ling Xiao's lips curled into a faint smile, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He was wondering if he should attack now and kill all 5 of them. The atmosphere became a little tense, as if a great battle was about to break out at any time. Buzz. At that moment, a dazzling light flickered in the distance, vaguely like a bright star, exuding a majestic and ancient aura. That's the time compass. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up, and he was instantly attracted. He discovered that the object that looked like a star was floating in the center of the temple. It shone with dazzling multicolored light. It was actually an ancient compass. Mysterious lines intertwined on it, containing the vast power of time. Upon closer inspection, it was as if those lines could penetrate the void and connect with all the worlds in the universe. They could control the time source of all the worlds in the universe. Furthermore, Ling Xiao could sense a powerful emperor's aura from it. Although it had yet to awaken, it was enough to make one's heart tremble in fear. Could this be the chrono compass, the apex emperor's weapon? Shirbufan exclaimed as a look of incomparable greed appeared in his eyes. The 9-time compasses from before were merely replicas of extreme Dao Emperor weapons. Although they were decent saint treasures, they were far inferior to the real-time compasses. The mission of the 9-time compasses was to choose an inheritor and bring him or her to the place of inheritance of the Chrono Emperor. The breathing of the other four also became extremely rapid. Their eyes were blazing, and they could not wait to rush up and snatch the time compass. Buzz! The time compass shone brilliantly and instantly shot out 6 dazzling divine rainbows. They were like rainbow bridges that stretched across the sky and spread out in front of Ling Xiao, Shirbufan, and the other 5. The 6 rainbow bridges were clearly separated and did not interfere with each other. However, they contained an incomparably vast and powerful power of time. At the same time, Ling Xiao, Shirbufan, and the other 5 were also separated by the power of time. It was as if they were enveloped by a layer of boundary. The void trembled slightly. Although they could see each other, it was as if they were separated by an endless space. Is this the test of the time compass? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The time compass was the Chrono Emperor's extreme Dao Emperor weapon. It could be said that whoever obtained the time compass would obtain the complete inheritance of the Chrono Emperor. The 6 rainbow bridges in front of them were probably the test set by the time compass. Only by passing the test and walking to the front of the time compass would one be qualified to be recognized by the time compass. Boom! Ling Xiao made a prompt decision. Without the slightest hesitation, he stepped onto one of the rainbow bridges. After Ling Xiao stepped onto one of the rainbow bridges, the void suddenly trembled. The scene before him changed and he appeared in an ancient world. The flowers, trees, mountains, rivers, lakes, and even the creatures in front of him were all in a strange state. A stalk of grass rapidly grew and then withered. In the end, it turned into a seed that was buried deep in the ground. Then it sprouted new shoots and grew rapidly. A little white rabbit, from the moment it was born, it grew fur at a speed visible to the naked eye. Then it became robust and shiny. In the end, it gave birth to offspring and gradually grew old before finally dying. The rivers went from being filled to being dried up, from being dried up to being filled again. The Tsang Mountains went from being filled with blooming flowers to being filled with passion and lush summer, to being filled with withered leaves in autumn, and finally to being covered in white snow and being filled with a lonely winter. The cycle of the 4 seasons, the cycle of life and death, was constantly playing out. Ling Xiao stood in the sky above this ancient world like a god of creation. He was neither sad nor happy as he quietly observed all the changes. This is time acceleration? Ling Xiao's heart trembled slightly. He could feel that this wasn't a real world. It was an evolution of the power of time. However, it also felt like a real world. Everything seemed so real and within reach. The powerful flow of time was like a mysterious line that interweaved around Ling Xiao, allowing him to clearly feel the power of time. In this world, time was infinitely accelerated. 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. This was why the mysterious scene of reincarnation appeared in front of him. Ling Xiao's expression was calm. He was neither sad nor happy as he floated in the air. He carefully felt the changes in time. It was as if everything in this world had nothing to do with him, but it was also under his control. This feeling was extremely mysterious. It allowed Ling Xiao to gradually understand the essence and power of time. Chapter 2274. Time Acceleration. A strange light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes as he muttered to himself. Then he stretched out a hand as if he was parting the fog of history. It was just a gentle touch. Instantly, the time acceleration became faster and faster. At the beginning, Ling Xiao still felt a little awkward. However, as his understanding of the power of time deepened, it became easier for him to control time. At the beginning, he could only accelerate time by 2 times. Then he could accelerate time by 10 times. Then he could accelerate time by 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. Time was like a puppet in Ling Xiao's hands. In the end, when Ling Xiao felt that the time of the entire world was under his control, this ancient world suddenly shattered with a loud bang. Ling Xiao appeared on the Rainbow Bridge again. However, he had already walked forward for a distance. 9 time compasses, representing 9 types of time origin. Could it be that there are 9 tests on this Rainbow Bridge? Ling Xiao thought to himself. Without any hesitation, he took another step forward. Boom! The resplendent light bloomed once again, and Ling Xiao appeared in an ancient world. In this world, all the flowers, trees, mountains, rivers, lakes, and even all kinds of creatures grew extremely slowly. It was as though time had slowed to an extreme here. This is time deceleration. Ling Xiao said slowly. He was like an outsider, looking at everything in this world. He wasn't affected at all. Therefore, using himself as a reference, he easily discovered the true meaning of time in this world. After Ling Xiao comprehended the true meaning of time deceleration, this world was naturally broken. The third world was time stop. The time compasses that Ling Xiao obtained also contain the true meaning of time stop. Therefore, it didn't affect him much. Very quickly, he comprehended the true meaning of time stop. The fourth world was time distortion. Here, time and space were distorted, and the world became grotesque. Even the timeline was distorted. Flowers and trees might grow in reverse, and all kinds of beasts would suddenly die when they grew to their prime. It was as if everything in this world had become chaotic and disorderly. Because there was no reference, Ling Xiao took a long time to comprehend the true meaning of time distortion. The following worlds were still not difficult for Ling Xiao. The fifth world, time imprisonment. The sixth world, time destruction. The seventh world, time reincarnation. In the eighth world, time reversed. Unknowingly, Ling Xiao had already passed through the 8 worlds above the Rainbow Bridge. The time compass was not far away from him. It looked incomparably mysterious and gave off an eternal aura. As long as he passed the final world's trial, he would be able to reach the time compass. Ling Xiao looked back and discovered that Shi Bufan was following closely behind him. At this moment, he was taking the test in the 8th world. As for the other 4, they were much slower. They were all in the 4th and 5th worlds. This Shi Bufan is really strong. If he also had 3 time compasses, he would have entered the 9th world like me. Ling Xiao thought to himself, feeling a little more curious and surprised about Shi Bufan. To be able to come to the 8th world to take the test so quickly, it could be seen that Shi Bufan's talent was indeed very strong. He had extremely high attainments and talent in the Tao of time. The true meaning of time reversal is extremely dangerous. I almost lost my mind, and was almost turned into a mortal without any cultivation base by the power of time. I'm afraid the 9th world will be even more dangerous. Ling Xiao muttered to himself. A sharp glint appeared in his eyes as he strode forward. Rumble! Blazing lightning bolts soared into the sky. Vast laws of the great Tao interweaved. Countless phantoms of gods and demons appeared. Ling Xiao appeared in an ancient and vast world. In this world, it was as if the world had just been created. Countless chaos gods and demons came from the chaos and launched an earth-shattering war. A vast and boundless continent in the chaos was shattered. Stars fell from the sky and blood rained down. It was like the Azura hell. Although Ling Xiao was observing all this as an outsider, he could still feel the ferocious and monstrous aura that made his body tremble slightly. He could feel that the strength of those chaotic divine demons was extremely terrifying. They could destroy stars, sink continents, and tear primordial ferocious beasts apart. They were ferocious. But in this place, time seemed to have turned into eternity. Lines of time intertwined like an order that bound everything. Although the world was sunk and space was destroyed, time still flowed forward in a mighty manner. It converged into a long river of time, and flowed towards the unknown place. Eternity of time? Ling Xiao's heart trembled. He could feel the true meaning of eternity of time. It was as if no living being, no expert, and no power could resist time. In front of the universe formed by countless epochs, time was an eternal and immortal existence. Time was the order, the heavenly Tao, and everything. Without time, the existence of space was meaningless. The existence of the world was meaningless. Even the myriad races and billions of living beings in the universe had lost their meaning of existence. Eternity of time seemed to be a true meaning that only the chaos and the illusory heavenly Tao could control. Ling Xiao could only be a bystander, and had no way to comprehend the true meaning of eternity of time. He sat cross-legged in this world as if he had passed away. There was no aura fluctuation coming from him. In the blink of an eye, billions of years had passed. He was still like a stone statue. At this moment, Shi Bufan had also passed the test of the 8th world and saw Ling Xiao's figure. Ling Xiao stood on the rainbow bridge without moving. He was only one step away from the time compass. One step away, but it was like a natural chasm. Long Outyin has actually entered the 9th world? The time compass belongs to me, Shi Bufan. No one can take it away from me. Not even you, Long Outyin. Shi Bufan's eyes revealed a trace of ferocious killing intent. Blazing divine light rose from his body and filled the air with a mysterious bloody light. In an instant, it silently spread towards the rainbow bridge. He took a step forward. In an instant, the void trembled. The endless power of time intertwined around him. An ancient and vast world vaguely appeared. However, the bloody light intertwined, causing the surrounding sky to tremble. It turned into streaks of bloody lightning that suddenly struck the ancient world and blasted the 9th world into smithereens. The vast true meaning of time instantly poured into Shi Bufan's body. He took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of the time compass. Chapter 2275. The time compass looked ancient and mysterious. It was enshrouded in resplendent light, and there were mysterious lines intertwined on it, as if it contained the mysteries of time. Standing in front of the time compass, Shi Bufan felt as if he could hear the ancient people chanting scriptures, hear the mysteries of the heavenly Tao, and see through the secrets of time. Blood-red light bloomed around him, intertwining with 7-colored radiance. Vaguely, there seemed to be an incomparably mysterious and ancient figure appearing behind Shi Bufan. Long Outyin, I'm afraid you didn't expect this. I've refined a drop of the flowing time Great Emperor's blood. The flowing time Great Emperor's inheritance is still mine. Once I've refined the time compass, I'll send you on your way. Shi Bufan muttered to himself. His voice was incomparably cold. He coldly glanced at Ling Xiao. Instantly, endless 7-colored blood-red light gathered in his palm, and then grabbed at the time compass. Whoa. The time compass trembled slightly, as if it had sensed some kind of power. It formed a strange resonance with Shi Bufan, and began to vibrate. Resplendent light bloomed around Shi Bufan's body. The 9 true intents of time floated around him like 9 resplendent stars. They converged into a pure and vast time origin energy that surged towards the time compass. After going through the trials of the 9 worlds, Shi Bufan had also comprehended the 9 true intents of time. He wanted to use them to refine the time compass. The time compass floated in the chaos, containing a vast and unparalleled emperor's aura. Shi Bufan could feel that his control over the time compass was getting stronger and stronger. He couldn't help but reveal a look of incomparable surprise and excitement. As long as he refined the time compass, he would be able to become the true successor of the flowing time Great Emperor. At that time, with the various means left behind by the flowing time Great Emperor, even killing Long Outyin would be a simple matter. Shi Bufan tightly guarded his mind. He activated the power in his body, and began to refine the time compass with all his strength. Rumble. At this moment, Ling Xiao also walked out of the 9th world. His eyes revealed a trace of vicissitude and profound expression. The 9th true intent of time, eternal time? What a powerful eternal time. I almost lost myself in it and couldn't extricate myself. Ling Xiao muttered to himself with lingering fear. When he was undergoing the test of the true meaning of eternal time, he felt that time was frozen, and the mysterious concept of immortality. Those grotesque and variegated scenes of countless battles between chaos fiend gods appeared in front of his eyes, making his comprehension of the true meaning of time more and more profound. Finally, after an unknown period of time, he completely comprehended the true meaning of eternal time and broke out of that world. How can Shirbufan be so fast? A sharp light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. He instantly saw Shirbufan sitting cross-legged under the time compass, refining it. The time compass exuded an extremely powerful emperor's aura, as if it could destroy everything. Around it, many worlds were born and died, and the river of stars was turned upside down. Before Ling Zhao entered the 9th world, he saw Shirbufan struggling in the 8th world. However, he didn't expect Shirbufan to be faster than him. Shirbufan arrived in front of the time compass and started refining the time compass, an extreme Dao Emperor weapon. We can't let him obtain the time compass. Ling Zhao's gaze turned cold as he strode toward Shirbufan. Wang. Suddenly, mysterious ripples appeared in the void. Ling Zhao moved thousands of feet in a single step, but what made him tremble was that Shirbufan and the time compass were still in front of him. It was as if Shirbufan had grown limbs as he moved, causing Ling Zhao to be unable to reach Shirbufan's side. Ling Zhao's heart trembled violently. He faintly felt that the atmosphere was unreal. What's going on? Since I've passed the 9 tests and comprehended the 9 true meanings of time Dao, I should be able to defeat Shirbufan and take back the time compass. But why can't I get close? Ling Zhao frowned and looked at Shirbufan in front of him, his heart full of doubts. Shirbufan and the time compass were in front of Ling Zhao, but he felt as if they were separated by endless time and space. He couldn't reach Shirbufan at all. In front of him was still the chaotic void, as if there was nothing. However, Ling Zhao vaguely felt that something was wrong. It was extremely unreal. Could it be, this is the 10th world? Ling Zhao's body trembled and a bright light flashed in his eyes. Ling Zhao took a deep breath and his heart became as calm as an ancient well. He slowly closed his eyes and sat down cross-legged on the spot. There was silence all around. The chaotic mist lingered and various mysterious scenes appeared. It was as if heaven and earth were being split apart, causing the surrounding sky to tremble slightly. However, it returned to normal in an instant as if nothing had happened. In this moment, Ling Zhao felt a strange power of time flowing through every corner of the chaotic void. Rumble. Ling Zhao vaguely felt that there was blazing lightning rising in the surroundings. An ancient and mysterious world had been opened up in the chaos. Ling Zhao had turned into the heavenly Tao of this world, watching the struggle of countless living beings. He felt that they were all ants under the heavenly Tao. Time became erratic in this place, and even Ling Zhao was unable to distinguish what was real and what was fake. This is indeed the 10th true meaning of time. The true meaning of reality and illusion? Ling Zhao's heart trembled, and he was even a little shocked. This true meaning of time seemed to be detached from the other 9 true meanings of time. However, it seemed to be everywhere. It was both real and fake, illusory and real. It made people feel like they could forever sink into the long river of time. They couldn't find their way and couldn't see their destination. This was the power of the true meaning of time. It seemed illusory, but Ling Zhao vaguely felt that it might be the most powerful true meaning of time. Even he had almost been bewitched. Ling Zhao was now certain that Shirbufan was probably lost in the 10th world. He was lost in the power of the true meaning of time, and was unable to extricate himself. He thought that he had refined the time compass, but he was actually still in the test. Gotcha. Ling Zhao's expression was calm, without sorrow or joy. It was as if he had comprehended the concept of the truth and falsehood of time. The ancient chaotic void in front of him shattered with a loud bang. What appeared in front of Ling Zhao was still the chaotic void. However, the difference was that this was the real world. The chaos was the origin of everything. It was the end of the universe. Chapter 2276. In front of him, the ancient time compass was floating in the chaotic void. It looked dazzling, simple, and mysterious. It contained a vast amount of time origin energy, which made Ling Zhao's eyes light up. Time compass. Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat, and he immediately walked towards the time compass. Buzz. Bright light bloomed around Ling Xiao's body. With every step he took, a ray of time essence turned into a dazzling halo behind him. Ling Xiao took 10 consecutive steps forward. 10 streams of the true intent of time transformed into 10 halos behind him, enveloping his entire body, making him look ethereal and mysterious. There was a mysterious aura that seemed to be impervious to all laws. As if it could sense the 10 halos behind Ling Xiao, the time compass trembled slightly. The 10 dazzling halos shot out 10 rays of light, which merged into the time compass. The lines on the time compass lit up, and the time compass emitted a vast and mysterious emperor's aura. It was as if it could sweep across the heavens and suppress everything. Its aura was terrifying to the extreme. Swoosh! The time compass flew into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, and a vast and mighty aura swept out. It was incomparably domineering, as if it wanted to shatter everything in Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. Rumble! The wordless heavenly book and the fortune jade disc were instantly displeased. Although these 2 chaos treasures were slightly damaged and not as powerful as they were in their prime, they were still chaos treasures that were more terrifying than extreme Dao Emperor weapons. At this moment, both of them were radiating brilliant light as they confronted the time compass. Rumble! The time compass was a flawless emperor weapon, and its vast emperor's aura could crush everything. As for the wordless heavenly book and the fortune jade disc, they were both chaos treasures. The 3 treasures immediately clashed in Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. In an instant, it was as if the heavens and earth were split open, and the universe was destroyed. Countless gods and demons roared, and the aura was terrifying to the extreme. If it wasn't for the wordless heavenly book protecting Ling Xiao's primordial spirit and sea of consciousness, the collision of the 3 treasures would have turned Ling Xiao into ashes. However, although the 3 treasures were fighting fiercely, no one could do anything to the other. In the end, it gradually calmed down. It's finally stopped. However, although I can control the wordless heavenly book and the good fortune jade disc, this time compass is simply a ticking time bomb. I have to think of a way to refine it as soon as possible. How strange. Why did it suddenly run into my sea of consciousness? Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief as a trace of doubt appeared in his eyes. He hadn't even started to refine the time compass, but the time compass had already entered his sea of consciousness, causing him to be incomparably shocked. He had obtained the flowing time great emperor's inheritance so easily? Ling Xiao was still unable to get used to it. Rumble! Just as the chrono compass flew into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, the few rainbow bridges in the void shattered, and Swordsmanship and the other 4 powerhouses rushed out from within. What's going on? My compass of time? Where did my time compass go? Swordsmanship's incomparably furious and shocked voice rang out in the void. His expression was incomparably ugly, and his gaze was incomparably gloomy, filled with monstrous rage and killing intent. One must know that Swordsmanship was about to completely refine the time compass, but he didn't expect it to disappear directly. He was so angry that his entire body was trembling, and his voice was filled with unwillingness and killing intent. However, the other 4 experts were also at a loss as they looked at each other. After all, they were originally undergoing a trial in the world, but they didn't expect the world to shatter, and they would be forcefully teleported out. Only Ling Xiao's expression was incomparably indifferent, and his body emitted an incomparably powerful aura. Swordsmanship's gaze instantly fell on Ling Xiao, and the killing intent in his eyes was incomparably intense, filled with bone-deep hatred. This was because he felt the aura of an extreme emperor weapon from Ling Xiao's body. That was the aura that belonged to the time compass. The time compass was currently in Ling Xiao's possession. Long Outyan, hand over the time compass. Otherwise, I won't rest until you're dead. Swordsmanship's eyes were incomparably bloodshot as he glared at Ling Xiao. The time compass is in Long Outyan's hands. The other 4 experts trembled as well, and the confusion on their faces receded. Their eyes were filled with incomparable jealousy. That was the flowing time emperor weapon, the time compass, and it had fallen into Ling Xiao's hands just like that? Not only was the time compass an extreme emperor weapon, it might also contain the flowing time emperor's supreme inheritance, complete with the complete time cycle and various other powerful emperor techniques and secret techniques. Four brothers, help me kill Long Outyin. After we obtain the Flowing Time Emperor's inheritance, how about we split it equally? Shirbufan transmitted his voice to the four experts. How should we split the time compass? After all, there's only one of it. A burly man with bulging muscles said in a muffled voice, but there was an incomparably cunning look in his eyes. We can split the time cycle and other emperor techniques and secret techniques in the time compass equally. As for the time compass, the five of us will share it. How about that? Otherwise, I'm afraid none of us will be a match for Long Outyin. Shirbufan said without hesitation. Deal. Alright, no problem. Let's kill this bastard. I've long found this brat an eyesore. The four experts said one after another. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent, and killing intent surged around them as they slowly surrounded Ling Xiao. What? You want to join forces? Ling Xiao said indifferently. His expression was extremely calm, but there was a trace of mockery in his eyes. Long Outyin, we admit that you're very strong. However, if you want to take the time compass for yourself, you'll have to ask for our permission. If you know what's good for you, hand over the time compass. Perhaps we'll let you comprehend the time compass together. Otherwise, we'll let your blood splatter on the spot. A young man in black with a feminine temperament said sinisterly. His voice was incomparably ear-piercing and made people feel uncomfortable. Cut the crap. All of you can come at me together. You can accompany me on the road to the netherworld. Ling Xiao said with a faint smile, but his eyes were filled with a cold light. You're courting death. Shirbufan's eyes were filled with blood-red light, and his killing intent exploded. An incomparably terrifying aura erupted from his body as he charged towards Ling Xiao. Rumble. A vast aura rose from his body, and his aura skyrocketed. A sharp ancient sword fell from his palm, and in an instant, countless sword rays intertwined, like a sword net that enveloped Ling Xiao. Kill. Chapter 2277. Shirbufan and the four experts were indeed fearful of Ling Xiao. After all, the scene of Yuan Chun Saint dying in Ling Xiao's hands was too shocking. Ling Xiao's combat strength was unfathomable, and he was already a supreme expert in the third heaven realm. None of them had the confidence to fight against him. But now, the temptation of the time compass had completely surpassed their fear of Ling Xiao. For the sake of this supreme emperor weapon and the supreme inheritance of the flowing time great emperor, they still chose to attack Ling Xiao. Moreover, Ling Xiao definitely did not have the time to refine the time compass. This was the best opportunity for them to strike. Rumble. Facing the attacks of Shirbufan and the four experts, Ling Xiao's eyes were blazing with sharpness. A powerful aura rose around him as he threw out a punch. The terrifying fist imprint was intertwined with chaotic qi, enveloping the heavens and the earth, including Shirbufan and the four experts. It was incomparably ferocious, like an immemorial divine mountain, pressing down from the primordial times. Kacha. The sword light that filled the sky shattered, and the attacks of the four experts turned into dust at the same time. The five of them felt as if they had been struck by lightning, and they were all sent flying back, feeling their blood and qi churning in their bodies. With your little strength you dare to court death? Ling Xiao said indifferently. A vast and terrifying aura erupted from his body. His blood and qi rose like a blazing sun, giving people a great sense of oppression. He was like a chaotic fiend god, looking down at Shirbufan and the four experts. Long Outyin, don't be so arrogant. If you don't hand over the time compass today, you will die without a doubt. Shirbufan's eyes revealed a trace of madness. Rumble. Seven-colored blood light rose around him, and his aura skyrocketed, breaking the limit of the earth realm in an instant. It only stopped when it reached the peak of the heaven realm. Around Shirbufan's body, the power of time intertwined like divine chains, turning into dense sword light. Finally, it gathered into an incomparably blazing white ancient sword that bloomed with immortal light. Shirbufan held the immortal sword in his hand, and an extremely dangerous aura suddenly erupted from his body. Four brothers, attack with all your might. Long Outyin must die today. Shirbufan did not turn his head. His eyes were filled with blazing killing intent as he stared at Ling Xiao and said coldly, Crack. The immortal sword in his hand emitted a blazing light. In an instant, it moved across the sky, causing the void to distort. It was as if it had transcended the limits of time and space, arriving in front of Ling Xiao in an instant. The sword light was incomparably sharp. It was formed by the time essence around Shurbufan. It represented his comprehension of the power of time. Coupled with his powerful cultivation base, it was even more terrifying to the extreme. Now that's interesting, Ling Xiao said indifferently. He gently stretched out 2 fingers and caught the immortal sword in an instant. His sparkling fingers emitted an immortal luster and directly shattered the sword light. Then he flicked it gently. Wang. The immortal sword trembled violently, causing Sherbufan's expression to change. He felt an unparalleled divine power attacking him, causing his arm to feel a little numb. He spun in the void like a spinning top. The sword light intertwined like a dragon and shot up into the sky in an instant. The power accumulated in the 9 heavens was at its peak. Then it swooped down and pierced toward Ling Xiao's head. Rumble. From afar, it looked like a huge tornado was coming, wanting to tear everything into pieces. The 4 experts roared at the same time. Terrifying auras rose from their bodies, and their cultivation soared rapidly, reaching the heaven realm in an instant. They were all geniuses of their clans. They had all kinds of secret heavenly techniques in their hands. Naturally, they also had explosive secret techniques that allowed them to temporarily possess the cultivation base and combat strength of the heaven realm. Boom. The burly young man held 2 giant axes. They crossed each other like a black whirlwind. The huge axe light was extremely domineering, as if it was going to split heaven and earth in half. Whoosh. The black-robed young man's aura was extremely soft. He instantly turned into a faintly discernible shadow, hiding in the void. He was waiting for an opportunity to launch a fatal blow toward Ling Xiao. The other 2 experts, a white-robed young man holding a saber, and a purple-robed young man holding a spear, attacked like a dragon. Their auras intertwined, one long and one short. They actually performed a joint attack and attacked Ling Xiao at the same time. Shurbufan was above, and the 4 experts attacked from all directions, trapping Ling Xiao in the middle. They all exploded with their strongest power. When 5 Heaven Realm experts attacked, an ordinary person would be severely injured even if they didn't die. However, Ling Xiao was not an ordinary person. When Shurbufan and the other 4 experts attacked at the same time, he also attacked. Roar. An ancient and mysterious dragon roar exploded in the void. It was as if the primordial ancestral dragon was announcing its majesty to all living beings. A vast dragon's aura erupted from Ling Xiao's body. He was shrouded in golden divine light. Every pore on his body was emitting chaotic light. His blood vessels were vibrating like divine dragons, and his blood was surging like a river. His aura was terrifying to the extreme in an instant. Ling Xiao crossed his arms like the claws of a dragon. In an instant, a huge golden dragon that was shining with golden light coiled around his body. It looked very lifelike. The dragon's scales were sharp and sturdy, forming a golden dragon-shaped barrier. Boom. Sherbufan's immortal sword was incomparably swift and fierce. It fell from the sky and instantly slashed on the dragon-shaped barrier. The attacks of the 4 experts, almost at the same time as Sherbufan, blasted on the dragon-shaped barrier. A terrifying divine light storm erupted, and the sound waves spread out. It was like the rumbling of divine thunder from the 9th heaven. The blazing divine light rose and rushed in all directions. It dispersed all the chaotic mist in the surroundings, turning it into a vacuum state. However, after the blazing divine light dispersed, Sherbufan and the other 4 experts' eyes suddenly shrank. Their faces were filled with disbelief and shock. What? After suffering the terrifying attacks of the 5 Heaven Realm experts, the huge dragon-shaped barrier did not move at all. There was no sign of it shattering at all. It was still incomparably sturdy, blooming with immortal light. It even reflected Ling Xiao's indifferent and calm face. Not good, retreat quickly. Sherbufan's heart pounded violently. He felt an incomparably dangerous aura from Ling Xiao's eyes. Without thinking, he instantly retreated at an extremely fast speed. After hearing Sherbufan's words, the 4 experts were stunned for a moment. They also retreated at the same time, falling behind Shirbufan. But it was still too late. Roar! The golden dragon that shrouded Ling Xiao seemed to have awakened from a deep sleep. It opened its golden eyes, opened its huge mouth, and let out a terrifying dragon roar. The terrifying sound waves erupted, as if a golden sun had exploded in the void. The dragon roar seemed to be able to shatter the universe, make the heavens fall, and make billions of stars explode. Its power was terrifying and monstrous. Chapter 2278. Roar of the Ancestral Dragon. This was the supreme divine ability that Ling Xiao comprehended when he cultivated the secret skill of the ancestral dragon to perfection, and condensed the ancestral dragon's body. It was the first dragon roar of the Archean ancestral dragon when he created the world. It contained the power of creation and destruction, and directly affected the primordial spirit. The primordial spirits of the four experts became extremely dim at this moment. Their primordial spirit defensive sacred treasures were shattered silently. They were severely injured and their eyes were filled with horror. Even though Shirbufan was a little further away, and was blocked by the four experts, he still felt that his sea of consciousness was about to explode. His body trembled, and his face was incomparably pale as he was sent flying. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes were blazing with killing intent. He took a step forward and immediately punched out like a dragon. The terrifying fist print directly blasted on the burly man's chest, and directly penetrated his body. Blood rained down in the void. How could the burly man resist Ling Xiao's fierce and overbearing fist print? His entire body exploded. Even the violent struggle of his primordial spirit was instantly swallowed, and suppressed by the wordless heavenly book. At this point, the first heaven's pride was killed by Ling Xiao. After killing the burly man, Ling Xiao did not stop at all. He instantly arrived in front of the black-clothed youth. Ah, Long Outyan. You're not human. You're not human. The black-clothed youth was scared out of his wits. His eyes were filled with horror. He endured the severe pain in his primordial spirit, and wanted to use a teleportation technique to escape. He was known for his speed. With a slight shake of his body, he was about to disappear into the void. However, Ling Xiao directly broke through the void and grabbed the black-clothed youth. Then he suddenly exerted force with both hands and directly tore the black-clothed youth into two halves. Run. Long Outyan, spare my life. I won't dare to go against you anymore. The remaining two experts desperately tried to escape into the distance. Their eyes were filled with incomparable fear. As they fled, they loudly begged for mercy, hoping that Ling Xiao would spare their lives. At this moment, they no longer had the slightest bit of fighting spirit. They had been completely frightened out of their wits by Ling Xiao. They even regretted attacking Ling Xiao, and their hatred for Shirbufan had reached the extreme. If it weren't for Shirbufan's instigation, they wouldn't have made the decision to attack Ling Xiao so easily. Too late. Ling Xiao said indifferently. With a flash of a secret teleportation technique, he appeared behind the two experts in an instant. Then he punched out with both his fists. Two chaotic fists exploded in the void, completely engulfing the figures of the two experts. The power of the roar of the ancestral dragon had already severely injured their primordial spirits. Their strength had been reduced by 80 to 90%, and they couldn't even withstand a single blow from Ling Xiao. Their bodies were directly blasted apart by Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao easily suppressed their primordial spirits and devoured their karmic luck. In a twinkle, the four great powerhouses all died in Ling Xiao's hands. What? Long Outyan, how can you be so strong? Shirbufan's entire body trembled, and his eyes were filled with incomparable horror. He had been shaken by the roar of the ancestral dragon, and had finally stabilized the injuries of his primordial spirit. However, in the blink of an eye, the four great powerhouses were so weak that they couldn't even withstand a single blow and died in Ling Xiao's hands. Shirbufan's eyelids twitched. He couldn't figure out why the combined strength of the five great heavenly realm powerhouses still couldn't defeat Ling Xiao. Shirbufan, let's settle this today, Ling Xiao said indifferently. His sharp and deep gaze fell on Shirbufan. Suddenly, an incomparably terrifying aura locked onto Shirbufan. Long Outyan, I admit defeat today. I'll leave the chrono compass with you for the time being, but one day, I'll come and get it personally. Sherbufan's expression was extremely ugly. He glared at Ling Xiao hatefully, and wanted to turn around and leave. Thus, an ancient talisman appeared in his palm. It bloomed with dazzling light in the void and enveloped his entire body. Suddenly, the chaotic light exploded and a mysterious space-time gate was opened. Sherbufan sneered and looked at Ling Xiao. He was about to walk into the space-time gate in an instant. That talisman was a space-time talisman. Legend had it that it was a supreme talisman left behind by the flowing time great emperor. It could shift the heavens and go anywhere as one wished. This was also Sherbufan's final trump card. It could protect him from leaving. Ling Xiao's expression was very calm. He didn't show any signs of stopping Sherbufan, but there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. Boom. When Sherbufan entered the space-time gate, the void trembled and a terrifying force bloomed in the space-time gate. Sherbufan's body trembled violently and was directly ejected from the space-time gate. The talisman burned in the void and even the space-time gate disappeared in an instant. What's going on? Sherbufan's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief and horror. That was a space-time talisman left behind by the flowing time great emperor. It was a supreme talisman. How could it be dissolved silently? Sherbufan felt that there was no passage in the space-time gate. There was only an incomparably chaotic space-time force. If he hadn't been fast enough, he would have been crushed into powder by the space-time force. It seems that you haven't fully comprehended the true meaning of the time great Tao. Do you really think you can escape from the space of the time compass? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Buzz. As soon as his voice fell, the chaotic void suddenly shone with a dazzling light. The time compass appeared in the void and scattered mysterious space-time force. It intertwined and formed a huge boundary that enveloped Ling Xiao and Sherbufan. It turned out that Ling Xiao had unknowingly used the time compass to set up a boundary. How could a mere emperor talisman break the boundary of an emperor weapon under such terrifying emperor aura? How can you refine the time compass? The time compass is an emperor weapon. Even if you've comprehended the true meaning of time, it's impossible for you to refine it so quickly. How did you do it? I can't accept this. I can't accept this. Sherbufan's body trembled as he looked at the time compass in the void. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. His handsome face had turned ferocious as he stared at Ling Xiao. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. You can't accept this? But you still have to die. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and waved his hand gently. Immediately, the time compass came crashing down from the void. The terrifying space-time force intertwined like endless sword light, and instantly turned Sherbufan into powder. In front of an emperor weapon, even a sage was just an ant, let alone Sherbufan. No matter how many schemes he had, in the face of absolute power, they were all useless. As for how Ling Xiao controlled the power of the time compass, Sherbufan probably didn't even know until he died. He could be considered to have died with everlasting regret. Sherbufan's primordial spirit was suppressed by the wordless heavenly book, and his fate was also absorbed by Ling Xiao's God Clan seal. However, a rainbow-colored blood bead suddenly flew out from Sherbufan's shattered body. It flowed with a mysterious and ancient light, and seemed to contain endless space-time fluctuations. It instantly attracted Ling Xiao's attention. This is? Chapter 2279. The rainbow-colored blood bead looked ancient and mysterious, containing majestic energy fluctuations. Vaguely, there seemed to be an incomparably mysterious figure sitting cross-legged within it, like a deity, giving the blood bead a strange vitality. Sherbufan was killed by Ling Xiao, but this rainbow-colored blood bead was not destroyed. It definitely did not belong to Sherbufan, but the blood of a powerful existence. This rainbow-colored blood bead actually contains such a majestic source of time. Could it be? Ling Xiao's heart trembled, and he began to guess. Rumble. At this moment, the time compass in the void seemed to have sensed the power of the rainbow-colored blood bead, and instantly began to tremble violently, releasing a dazzling brilliance. The Emperor's aura within seemed to be awakened. As for the rainbow-colored blood bead, it instantly fused into the time compass. The time compass seemed to have eaten something extremely nutritious, and instantly, it shone with a dazzling light. Runes rose, containing incomparably mysterious energy fluctuations, as if they could destroy the heavens in all directions. The scene was shocking. The powerful power of time intertwined, causing the surrounding void to distort. In an instant, a dazzling light beam shot out from the time compass, directly shooting into Ling Zhao's sea of consciousness between his eyebrows. Ling Zhao's sea of consciousness seemed to be surging with huge waves. The sound waves were vibrating like a great bell. A piece of resplendent scripture exuded an ancient and mysterious light. A vast amount of true meaning was transmitted into Ling Zhao's sea of consciousness. Time reverses, traveler of time, immortal chaos, transcends eternity. The mysterious scripture rang out, like the sound of the heavenly Tao, but also like the chanting of the ancient people, causing flowers to fall from the sky, and golden lotuses to bloom from the ground. The surroundings were filled with auspicious qi and dazzling rays of light. It was incomparably mysterious. Ling Zhao's primordial spirit sat cross-legged in the void, and the light before his eyes was resplendent. He vaguely seemed to see an incomparably mysterious figure sitting cross-legged, speaking of the mysteries of time, the true meaning of time. This is the time scripture? Ling Zhao's heart trembled, and he immediately sensed that this was the supreme scripture of the flowing time great emperor, the time scripture. The scripture of a great emperor contained the supreme emperor's Tao, as well as all the knowledge of a great emperor. It could be said to be all-encompassing and incomparably precious. It was a supreme art that pointed directly to the heavenly Taos. This was the first complete imperial sutra that Ling Zhao had obtained. Even though the Taishu Heart Rune scripture contained the cultivation method of the Supreme Heart Tao, the Taishu Emperor was not a true great emperor after all. The Taishu Heart Rune scripture had not transformed into a true emperor scripture. Ling Zhao's soul was translucent and gave off a mysterious glow. He was enveloped by the true meaning of the way of time and menstruation, sinking into a deep state of comprehension. His fleshly body, primordial spirit, grand Tao laws, and Tao of heart had all undergone a strange transformation as he comprehended the time and menstrual cycle. The time compass enveloped Ling Zhao, distorting the surrounding space and time. The flow of time also underwent a strange change. 2 times, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. The flow of time around Ling Zhao changed drastically. It only stabilized when the flow of time accelerated by over 10,000 times, reaching the limit that Ling Zhao could endure. 10,000 times the flow of time meant that one day in the outside world was equivalent to 30 years of cultivation here. Ever since Ling Zhao had ascended from the mortal world, his cultivation had also improved by leaps and bounds. He had grown to the point where he could suppress countless geniuses in the universe and look down on the world. However, because his cultivation speed was too fast, there were still some hidden dangers in his body. Moreover, his foundation was still inferior to those ancient geniuses. After all, his cultivation time was still too short. In the long run, it would affect Ling Zhao's future cultivation progress and cause irreparable damage. This time, he had obtained the inheritance of the time and menstrual cycle, which was a rare transformation for Ling Zhao. It allowed him to have a clear understanding of his own body, make up for his shortcomings, and constantly strive towards a perfect state. This was the greatest opportunity that Ling Zhao had obtained from entering the land of inheritance of the Flowing Time Emperor. The land of inheritance of the Flowing Time Emperor was a separate entity, faintly separated from the chaotic battlefield. Therefore, the outside world was not clear about what had happened in the land of inheritance. However, the deaths of Shirbufan and Yuanshan Saint were not hidden from everyone. Nirvana, Yuanshan, and Shirbufan all died in the hands of Long Outyin. On a perilous peak in the chaotic battlefield, Tianzi was sitting cross-legged in the chaotic fog, breathing in and out the chaotic qi. Suddenly he opened his eyes, shooting a cold light in all directions. There were 4 powerful figures standing around Tianzi: a white-robed monk, a scholar with a folding fan, a black-robed youth, and a skinny boy in black. The 4 of them were protecting Tianzi. The 4 of them were Buddha Wuxin of the Myriad Buddha Temple, Saint Yi Jiming of the Fane of Destiny, Jun Wuhan of the Heavenly Mantra Sect, and Soul Reaping Boy of the Darkness Heavenly Sect. After hearing Tianzi's words, the four of them trembled, revealing an unconcealable look of shock on their faces. Nirvana, Yuanchen, and Shirbufan all died in the hands of Long Outyin? How is this possible? There was a look of disbelief in Jun Wuhan's eyes. One had to know that Nirvana Saint Sun, Yuanchen Saint Sun, and Shirbufan were the 7 prodigies under Tianzi. There was not much difference in strength between them. Even if the 4 of them were slightly stronger, it was not by much. Moreover, they were even more wary of Shirbufan's control of the power of time. Now that they heard that the 3 of them had all died in the hands of Long Outyin, the 4 of them were shocked and furious. Damn it! Long Outyin is simply courting death. How dare he kill Nirvana, Yuanchen, and Shirbufan? Isn't he afraid of Tianzi's revenge? Soul-reaping Boy's extremely ear-piercing voice resounded. His eyes filled with cold murderous intent. Ba, Long Outyin's strength cannot be underestimated. Tianzi, Long Outyin is probably the biggest obstacle to you becoming the chosen one. Buddha Wuxin said flatly with a smile on his face. He looked dignified, like an eminent monk. No matter what, he killed Nirvana, Yuanchen, and Yuanchen. He's already our mortal enemy. Tianzi, to prevent any accidents, why don't we capture Long Outyin's old friends, so that he won't attack the rat for fear of breaking the vases? How about it? Yi Jiming said slowly. His expression was indifferent and calm, but his words caused everyone's hearts to tremble. Yi Jiming wanted to use Long Outyin's old friends to threaten Long Outyin. He knew Long Outyin's character very well, which was why he did so. It could be said that he was vicious. I think that's a good idea. Tianzi, what do you think? Chapter 2280. Sure. Split up and find out the whereabouts of Long Outyin's friends and acquaintances. Once you find anything, inform me immediately. I will personally take action and capture all of them. No matter what, I can only be the chosen one. Tianzi's eyes flashed as he said coldly. Boom. He slowly stood up, and chaotic light rose around him. The terrifying aura seemed to be able to shatter the sky. Above his head, the golden power of fate rose like a dazzling sun, releasing endless light and heat. Yes, the 4 sky prides could not help but feel a chill in their hearts as they lowered their heads and cupped their fists together. In the next few days, under Tianzi's lead, the 4 sky prides continued to attack. While defeating other sky prides to collect providence, they also searched for the whereabouts of Ling Zhao's friends and acquaintances. The undercurrent in the chaotic battlefield became more turbulent. Have you heard? Feng Qingyang from the Taishang Palace has been captured by Tianzi. Why? Feng Qingyang did not offend Tianzi, did he? I heard that it's because Feng Qingyang is related to Long Outyin. Anyone who is related to Long Outyin has suffered. Feng Qingyang should be the 4th person to be captured by Tianzi, right? That's right. Other than Feng Qingyang, I heard that Wu Liang, Old Goat, and Saintess Jin Se were also captured. Is Tianzi trying to use them to force Long Outyin out? It seems like a battle between Tianzi and Long Outyin is inevitable. Some people in the chaotic battlefield were discussing. In the last few days, the Emperor and his 4 geniuses were invincible. Not only did they eliminate many geniuses from the powerful races, they also captured Jin Se, the Old Goat, Daoist Wu Liang, and Feng Qingyang. At the same time, Tianzi had also announced that Long Outyin had to apologize to Tianzi within 3 days. Otherwise he would kill all 4 of them. However, 3 days were almost up and Long Outyin was still nowhere to be seen. Many people thought that Long Outyin was afraid. After all, Tianzi's brilliance was too dazzling. Everyone thought that even if Long Outyin were to appear, he would still be defeated by Tianzi. Supreme Peak. Tianzi and his 4 sky prides tied Jin Se and the other 3 to 4 stone pillars and waited quietly for Ling Zhao's arrival. This Tianzi is really shameless. He actually dares to sneak attack us? Bastard. If it weren't for the fact that I can't use the devouring heaven array disc, I would definitely kill this bastard. The Old Goat cursed loudly, his eyes filled with anger. Old Goat, you better be honest. We didn't expect to run into Tianzi. With our current strength, it's not a loss to lose to Tianzi. Taoist Wuliang said with a bitter smile. Jin Sei's expression was calm, and she didn't say a word, while Feng Qingyang's face was full of depression. The Son of Heaven had captured the four of them, but he didn't steal their fates. Instead, he bound them here. He wanted to use them as bait to lure Ling Xiao over. The four of them were defeated by Tianzi one by one. Tianzi was too strong. Even though the old goat, Taoist Wuliang, and Jin Sei were not weak, they were still no match for Tianzi. Not to mention, Tianzi had four other Heaven's Prides as his subordinates. I just hope that brat Ling Xiao doesn't stupidly rush over for fear of breaking the vases. Otherwise, I'm afraid it won't end well. Taoist Wuliang sighed and said slowly. Tianzi sat cross-legged on the supreme peak with his eyes closed, as if he didn't care about the four's conversation. Do you guys think Long Outyin will come? Soul-hooking boy suddenly asked. As long as he knows about the news that we released, he will definitely come. After all, based on my understanding of Long Outyin, he is a righteous person. He will definitely not watch his friends die. He will definitely come to rescue them. Yi Jiming said slowly with a wisp of wisdom in his eyes. Oh, Brother Jiming, you are so familiar with Long Outyin? Jun Wuhan asked curiously. I know a little about him, but I'm sure that he will come. Yi Jiming said with a faint smile. Ba, someone is coming. Arhat Wuxin suddenly chanted the name of Buddha. His eyes shone brightly as he looked into the distance. Swoosh. A figure came across the sky at an extremely fast speed. It moved through layers of voids like lightning and appeared in the sky above the super peak in an instant. It was a lady in a white dress. She looked extremely beautiful with snow-white skin. Her temperament was extraordinary and she exuded an ethereal aura. She was riding on a white dragon horse. The dragon horse looked extremely majestic. Its white fur was as smooth and shiny as silk. There was not a single strand of hair that was out of place. Its four limbs were like heavenly pillars, and it exuded a powerful dragon aura. However, her eyes were extremely arrogant, and she was looking for a beating. At this moment, she was looking down at Yi Jiming and the other three with disdain. You bastards, go and find Long Outyin if you can. What's the point of bullying his friends? If you know what's good for you, let them go quickly. Otherwise, I'll make you bleed. Before the lady in the white dress could speak, the white dragon horse shouted arrogantly. Its voice was like a dragon's roar that contained powerful sound waves. You are Saintess Shui Wei of the Samsara Temple? Yi Jiming's eyes flashed as he suddenly recognized the lady in the white dress. The lady in the white dress was Shui Wei, and the white dragon horse was naturally the white dragon horse. After they heard the news that the emperor had released them, Shui Wei made a prompt decision to come and save the four. Even the white dragon horse couldn't persuade her, and had to come with Shui Wei. That's me. Let them go and I won't kill you. Shui Wei said calmly. Her temperament seemed even more ethereal. She sat on the white dragon horse with her white dress fluttering. Her entire being seemed to have merged with the void of heaven and earth. The chaotic mist in the surroundings surged into her body, and then dissipated from her body. She looked incomparably mysterious. Saintess Shui Wei, I didn't expect you to reach the third heaven realm in just a few years. That's amazing. However, do you really think you can save the four of them by yourself? Yi Jiming stared at Shui Wei and said with a sigh. He had met Shui Wei a few years ago. Back then, Shui Wei was only a 9th revolution half-saint. However, in just a few years, she had reached the third heaven realm. Yi Jiming, an ancient prodigy of the Fane of Destiny, was also very impressed. Shui Wei's cultivation had already surpassed his. The emperor's cultivation was in the heaven realm, while the four prodigies under him were only in the earth realm. They hadn't broken through the third heaven realm. You can try, Shui Wei said calmly. There was no emotion in her voice. Boom. Blazing divine light surged around her. It was like a divine halo behind her, containing the mysterious power of reincarnation. It was sparkling and resplendent, making her seem even more mysterious and unfathomable. Chapter 2281. Not only was Shui Wei in the heaven realm, but her aura was so strong that even Yi Jiming and the other four supreme talents felt threatened. How is this possible? Didn't Shui Wei only join the Samsara temple a few decades ago? How can her aura be so condensed? It's as if she has a foundation of billions of years. Wuxia Arhut said slowly with a solemn look in his eyes. This must be the Samsara temple's secret skill of reincarnation. Her true spirit is indestructible after thousands of reincarnations. She must have received an incredible inheritance that allowed her to have such a terrifying foundation. Yijiming said slowly. Secret skill of reincarnation? It's ranked 4th among the 12 sky arts. Perhaps it will fall into my hands today. The soul-hooking boy said with a sinister smile, his eyes full of greed. So what if it's the secret skill of reincarnation? I don't believe that the combined strength of the 4 supreme talents can't take down this little girl. Jun Wuhan said with a cold smile. At that moment, the emperor was still sitting on the peak with his eyes closed, as if he didn't notice the appearance of Shui Wei and the white dragon horse. However, Yijiming and the other 3 supreme talents knew that this was the emperor's test for them. If they couldn't even take down Shui Wei, their status in the emperor's heart would be greatly reduced. Therefore, not only must they win this battle, they must win it. Are you done with your discussion? If so, come and accept your death. Shui Wei said calmly with a cold look in her eyes. Buzz. She waved her slender fingers in the void and instantly, her 10 fingers stirred up the chaotic aura around her. In an instant, they turned into 10 sword radiances that pierced through the heavens and the 9 supreme talents and charged towards Yijiming and the other 3 supreme talents. Kill her. The soul-snatching boy sneered. His body flashed and disappeared into the void. A terrifying dark aura shrouded the sky in all directions. It seemed as if it had blocked everyone's vision and perception. Even their 5 senses had been sealed. He hid in the void like a venomous snake, waiting for an opportunity to kill Shui Wei. Ba. Since you're so stubborn, I have no choice but to use my skills to subdue you. The first move of the Buddha's palm. The first appearance of Buddha's light. Heartless Arhut put his palms together and lowered his head. He looked solemn and dignified, but at this moment, a blazing Buddha light suddenly rose from his palms. It was vast and mighty, as if a Buddha who could suppress the 9 heavens and 10 earths had appeared between heaven and earth. The Buddha light could cleanse all darkness. Rumble. The sword light shooting at the soul-catching boy was instantly enveloped by endless darkness and dissolved into nothingness. Heartless Arhut's Tathagata divine palm had the power to subdue demons, so it smashed the sword light into dust. 5 decays of celestial being, decaying body. Jun Wuhan's eyes were blazing with cold light. He formed a seal with his palms, and a series of mysterious runes rose into the air. They activated the power of the heavenly way in all directions and shrouded Shui Wei. The 5 decay of heavens and man was Jun Wuhan's strongest killing secret skill. It was a supreme emperor skill of the heavenly curse sect. It was said that when cultivated to the extreme, it could cause the 10,000 worlds to enter the 5 decay of heavens and man, consigned to eternal damnation. The so-called body decay was targeted at the physical body. The curse of the heavenly curse sect was extremely strange and impossible to guard against. It controlled the power of the heavenly way to kill the opponent. At this moment, everyone could only feel a terrifying curse power spreading toward Shui Wei. Shui Wei, who was in the void, shuddered and shattered in an instant. She's so weak. Jun Wuhan was stunned. Although his 5 decay of heavens and man was powerful, he did not expect it to kill Shui Wei in one blow. Oh no! Soul-catching boy, be careful. Yijiming suddenly trembled and exclaimed. Rumble. Yijiming exuded an illusory aura, as if it was the supreme heavenly way that transcended the 9 heavens. It made his aura extremely terrifying. When he struck out his palm, the scene of the sun, moon, and stars disappearing at the same time appeared around him. Heaven's response palm. Yijiming used the powerful emperor technique of the Feign of Destiny. Heaven's response palm. It controlled the power of destiny and could directly cut off the thread of destiny of others. It directly attacked the fate matrix and destroyed it. The Heaven's response palm was extremely domineering. Yijiming would not use it easily. However, in a moment of desperation, he even used the Heaven's response palm. The soul-catching boy was hiding in the void with the protection of endless darkness. He was waiting for an opportunity to deal a fatal blow to Shui Wei. However, he did not expect Shui Wei to be killed by Jun Wuhan's 5 decay of heavens and man. The soul-catching boy was stunned. Just as he was stunned, he suddenly heard Yi Jiming's voice and knew that things were not good. Shui Wei silently appeared behind the soul-catching boy and gently patted his back with her palm. Rumble. A terrifying divine light suddenly exploded. The power of reincarnation rose as if it could destroy all life. It exploded in the soul-catching boy's body. In an instant, the soul-catching boy's body trembled violently. He spat out blood and was directly sent flying. Just as Shui Wei was about to follow up with another palm to kill the soul-catching boy, Yi Jiming attacked. Crack. The light of reincarnation rose from Shui Wei's palm and collided with Yi Jiming's response palm. Suddenly, the void rumbled and the blazing divine light exploded. Yi Jiming was directly sent flying. Even Shui Wei was forced to take a few steps back. Bastard, how dare you sneak attack me? How could you appear behind me without making a sound? The soul-catching boy's face was extremely gloomy as he stared at Shui Wei. Shui Wei's palm had seriously injured him. However, he did not understand how Shui Wei could appear behind him silently. She did not even notice when he used the light and darkness secret technique. Little dwarf, how can there be so many impossible things? Your grandpa horse can move the heavens and 10,000 worlds. I have the fastest speed in the world. Not to mention teleporting behind you. Even teleporting to your mother's bed would be as easy as flipping my hand. Do you believe me? The white dragon horse suddenly spoke and chuckled. It looked extremely arrogant. However, its words were too crude. Everyone's face could not help but twitch. Their eyes were filled with incomparably strange expressions. Ah, bastard, I'm going to kill you. The soul-catching boy had never suffered such humiliation before. He was instantly enraged. His eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent. He immediately wanted to kill Shui Wei and the white dragon horse without caring about anything else. Soul-catching boy, don't be rash. He's deliberately provoking you. Yi Jiming stopped the soul-catching boy and said. Chapter 2282. Pfft, coward. The white dragon horse snorted and said with disdain. The soul-reaping boy was so angry that his body twitched. Smoke was about to come out of his nose, but he held it in and turned his head away from the white dragon horse. He was afraid that if he looked at the white dragon horse, he would not be able to control himself and kill it. Heaven's responding palm? Extraordinary indeed. Shui Wei did not even look at the soul-reaping boy. She looked at Yi Jiming and said indifferently, "Humph. Your eternal reincarnation seal is not bad either." Yi Jiming's face was a little ugly. Although he had used the heaven's responding palm, he still suffered a lot from Shui Wei. The blood in his body was in turmoil, and the power of reincarnation was wreaking havoc in his body. It was as if it wanted to destroy all the life in his body. He spent a lot of effort to suppress the power of reincarnation. However, Yi Jiming knew that he was indeed weaker than Shui Wei. Among the 12 sky techniques, the chaos, destiny, karma, and reincarnation secret techniques were ranked in the top 4. However, there was not much of a difference between them. They all contained the ultimate profoundness. The key was the comprehension level of the user. To Yi Jiming's surprise, Shui Wei's mastery of the secret art of reincarnation was so profound that he actually felt like he was about to be knocked out of the cycle of reincarnation and consigned to eternal damnation. Everyone go all out. This little girl is very strong, Yi Jiming said slowly. His eyes were filled with strong fighting spirit. Rumble. A terrifying aura surged around him, causing the surrounding sky to tremble violently. A mysterious aura of destiny flowed around him, causing his aura to skyrocket. He practically broke through the limits of the earth realm in an instant, and directly ascended to the heaven realm. Boom, boom, boom. Just as Yi Jiming used the secret technique of destiny, Heartless Arhut used the secret technique of karma, Jun Wuhan used the secret technique of heavenly curse, and the soul-reaping boy used the secret technique of light and darkness. The cultivation of the 4 sky prides had all ascended to the peerless heaven realm. 4 heavenly realms? Miss Shui Wei is in danger. Feng Qingyang's eyes revealed a trace of worry. Although Yi Jiming, Wuxin Arhut, Jun Wuhan, and the soul-catching boy had all joined the emperor's side, it had to be said that they were rare peerless geniuses in the world. Their strength was extremely terrifying, far surpassing that of many geniuses from other greater thousand worlds. Although Shuewei was very strong, facing 4 monstrous geniuses who had raised their cultivation to the heaven realm, this battle was still worrying. Don't worry. Shuewei would definitely win. If Shuewei couldn't defeat the 4 of them, the white dragon horse, that cowardly old bastard, would have fled with Shuewei a long time ago. Looking at him, I can tell that he has full confidence in Shuewei. The old goat laughed indifferently. He was full of confidence in Shuewei. Even if Shuewei can defeat Yi Jiming and the other 3, she's probably not a match for Tianzi. I can only hope that the white dragon horse can escape with Shuewei. Otherwise it will be troublesome, Taoist Wuyang said slowly. His voice was filled with worry. The emperor's strength was simply too strong. That kind of strength was indescribable with words. The old goat and Taoist Wuyang considered themselves to be monstrous geniuses, but they seemed to have no power to resist in the emperor's hands. It was an absolute suppression of strength. Shi Shuewei? Shi and Ling Xiao. What's their relationship? Jinsei looked at Shuewei curiously. She had vaguely heard about Shuewei before. Based on her intuition, there was probably a very subtle relationship between Shuewei and Ling Xiao. She didn't know why, but after seeing Shuewei, Jinsei's originally calm heart seemed to be a little disturbed. Heavenly Sword of Light and Darkness. The 7th style of the Million Buddha's greeting, Heavenly Buddha descends. 5 decays of heaven and man, Qi decays. Heaven obeying palm. The soul-catching boy, Wuxin Arhut, Jun Wuhan, and Yi Jiming attacked at the same time. The 4 heavenly realm experts unleashed their full combat strength and displayed their supreme emperor techniques. The terrifying power dispersed the surrounding chaotic fog. Divine light swept across the sky like a storm, enveloping Shuewei in it, and an intense battle began. Whoosh! Shuewei rode the white dragon horse at an extremely fast speed. In an instant, she moved thousands of miles away. At the same time, she displayed a powerful secret reincarnation technique to fight against her enemies. She was enveloped by the reincarnation divine light, and there was a faint wave of invulnerability. Her attacks looked ethereal and mysterious, as if they were ethereal and otherworldly. However, they contained an incomparably terrifying power, causing Yi Jiming and the other 3 to feel their scalps tingle. They had no choice but to fight back with all their might. Rumble. The battle between Shuewei and the 4 was incomparably intense. It was as if 5 bright suns had appeared in the sky, constantly colliding with each other. Each collision was like a volcanic eruption, spewing out endless light and heat. So powerful. I didn't expect Shuewei to become so strong after not seeing her for so long. The old goat secretly clicked his tongue. Shuewei should win. Taoist Wuyang's eyes flashed as he spoke slowly. Boom. As soon as Taoist Wuyang's voice fell, a blazing and dazzling light suddenly erupted in the void. A huge samsara halo appeared above the 9th heaven. It looked simple and mysterious. It rotated endlessly, containing a mysterious wave of indestructible power. A terrifying divine light storm suddenly erupted. Yi Jiming and the other 3 were struck by the reincarnation halo. In that instant, it was as if they were struck by lightning. They spat out mouthfuls of blood and couldn't help but fly out. Shuewei's face was extremely beautiful. Her entire body emitted a crystalline and ethereal wave of energy, causing the surrounding sky to tremble violently. The reincarnation halo floated behind her, causing her aura to skyrocket. Boom! Shuewei struck out with her palm, and a palm print flew down majestically. It was like a supreme immortal light that swept across the 9 heavens and 10 earths. It instantly hit the soul-reaping boy's chest, directly slapping him down from the sky. Boom! 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 Shuewei struck out 3 more times. Each palm contained a vast amount of heaven and earth mighty power, as if it could tear the sky apart. While Yi Jiming and the other 2 were sent flying by the reincarnation halo, she struck them at the same time. The vast heaven and earth mighty power seemed to be able to tear everything apart. Yi Jiming and the other two couldn't resist at all. Their bodies trembled violently, and they spat out mouthfuls of blood. They were instantly severely injured. Boom. A terrifying aura intertwined around Shui Wei. Her eyes were incomparably sharp. Just as she was about to kill Yi Jiming and the other three in one go, an extremely cold voice rang out in the void. Enough! Chapter 2283. Boom. The light in Tianzi's eyes was so intense that it seemed to have materialized. In an instant, it collided with Shui Wei's palm. The surrounding void trembled violently. The light was so intense that it seemed to be able to tear everything apart. I didn't expect the reincarnation sage constitution of the Samsara temple to be so powerful. You're Shui Wei? Tianzi stood up slowly and looked at Shui Wei. You're the son of the heavenly emperor. If you really have a grudge against Long Outyin, you should go and take revenge on him. But you actually did such a despicable thing. Aren't you afraid of embarrassing the heavenly emperor? Shui Wei stared at Tianzi and said coldly, Little girl, you're still too young. In this world, the strong are respected. It doesn't matter if I'm despicable or not. If I'm stronger than them, then I can control their life and death. Don't you think it's too childish to talk about despicable and shameless in front of me? Tianzi smiled faintly and looked very calm. The strong are respected. If I'm stronger than you, does that mean I can kill you? Shui Wei's eyes were filled with coldness as she stared at Tianzi and said coldly, That's right. If you're stronger than me, I can only blame myself for not being strong enough to die in your hands. But do you have the ability? Tianzi stared at Shui Wei and said coldly, How do you know if you don't try? Shui Wei's eyes were filled with coldness. In an instant, an extremely powerful aura erupted from her body. Rumble. The reincarnation divine light around her was dazzling, causing her aura to skyrocket. Shui Wei exuded a mysterious aura that was impenetrable. She looked like a saintess of the 9 heavens. She slammed her palm towards Tianzi. The reincarnation divine light trembled slightly. The vast reincarnation energy seemed to want to pull Tianzi into the reincarnation cycle and destroy his true spirit. Seal of eternal reincarnation. Shui Wei executed the Supreme Emperor technique of the Samsara Temple. She used the secret technique of reincarnation to activate the seal of eternal reincarnation, making this move even more terrifying. It was almost able to destroy the sky. Seal of eternal reincarnation? It's indeed extraordinary. But it's a pity that you're still too weak. Tianzi said faintly as he threw out a simple punch. Crack. The light of chaos rose up and the sky all around seemed to shatter. The Son of Heaven's fist landed and ancient and mysterious worlds appeared in the chaos, suppressing towards Shui Wei at the same time. Just a simple heavenly emperor's fist was enough to suppress everything. Boom. The collision between the seal of 10,000 worlds Samsara and the heavenly emperor's fist resulted in a resplendent ripple of light. Like a storm, it swept away all the mist in the surroundings. Within the destructive power, there seemed to be mysterious scenes of the birth and destruction of worlds. It was enough to make people's minds tremble. It was as if their souls were about to be sucked in and completely obliterated. Kill. Shui Wei's eyes flashed with sharpness. Not only did she not retreat, but she also unleashed a powerful killing technique towards Tianzi, aiming for his vital points. Rumble. Shui Wei and Tianzi instantly engaged in a fierce battle. The void was filled with their figures. Every time they collided, an incomparably terrifying energy fluctuation would erupt. However, the old goat and Taoist Wuyang's eyes were filled with worry. Although Shui Wei is strong, I'm afraid she's not Tianzi's match. Taoist Wuyang said with a bitter smile. This little girl is too stubborn. She shouldn't have come. However, could that bastard Ling Xiao be in seclusion? Otherwise, if he hears the news, he'll definitely come. The old goat said with a depressed tone. He was full of confidence in Ling Xiao. Although he knew that Tianzi was extremely strong, he believed that as long as Ling Xiao was willing to take action, he would definitely be able to defeat Tianzi. I just hope that Shui Wei won't be too stubborn. If she can't win, she'll leave quickly. The white dragon horse should be able to bring Shui Wei away safely. Taoist Wuliang sighed softly as he looked at the figures fighting in the void. At this moment, even the white dragon horse couldn't interfere in the battle between Tianzi and Shui Wei. The white dragon horse's eyes were filled with craftiness. At this moment, its eyes were rolling around as it silently moved towards Yi Jiming and the other three. He knew that Shui Wei wasn't Tianzi's match. However, if he could capture the 4 supreme talents under Tianzi, he might be able to make Tianzi wary. Evil beast, what are you trying to do? The soul-hooking boy was extremely sharp. He instantly noticed the white dragon horse's movements and couldn't help but roar. His eyes were filled with vigilance. What am I trying to do? Hee hee, of course I'm going to take your lives. The white dragon horse chuckled. Like a ghost, it instantly appeared in front of the soul-hooking boy. Then its huge hooves came crashing down on the soul-hooking boy's face. Bastard! The soul-hooking boy was enraged. He wanted to defend himself, but he was severely injured. How could he be a match for the white dragon horse? Instantly, the white dragon horse's hooves landed on his head. His vision turned black and he fainted. And the 3 of you go down. The white dragon horse chuckled. Its malicious gaze landed on Yi Jiming, Bodhisattva Wuxia and Jun Wuhan. Oh no! Yi Jiming and the other two's hearts pounded. Without thinking, they turned around and wanted to escape. However, they were severely injured. How could they escape the white dragon horse's attack? Bang! 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 The white dragon horse's figure formed a series of afterimages in the void. Its hooves landed on Yi Jiming and the other two's heads, knocking them unconscious. White dragon horse, you bastard! Why aren't you coming to save us? The old goat and Taoist Wuliang were overjoyed. They did not expect the white dragon horse to be so strong. It had clearly broken through the 3rd limit and entered the 3rd heaven realm. The white dragon horse took care of Yi Jiming and the soul-hooking boy in an instant. It did not even take much effort. Even Tianzi, who was fighting with Shui Wei, did not react. The old goat and the white dragon horse all had hope of escaping. They hoped that the white dragon horse could save them. Don't worry. There's no one that I can't save. The white dragon horse laughed smugly. Whoosh. It was like a bolt of white lightning. In an instant, it charged towards the old goat and the other 3. The old goat and the other 3 were imprisoned on 4 stone pillars. The pillars were covered with runes. The white dragon horse wanted to break through the pillars and the runes to save the old goat and the other 3. Heavenly Horse Dragon Fist. The white dragon horse roared. Its huge hooves turned into a huge fist and slammed into the stone pillar behind the old goat. Boom. The stone pillar trembled violently. The runes on it exploded. However, new runes appeared. It was as if they were endless. They were extremely sturdy and could not be broken. Bastard, you're courting death. Chapter 2284. Tianzi did not expect the white dragon horse to secretly knock out Yi Jiming, Wuxia Arhut, Jun Wuhan, and the soul-reaping boy while he was fighting with Shui Wei. At this moment, it even wanted to save the old goat and the others. He was instantly enraged. The restrictive runes on the 4 stone pillars were personally enchanted by the Son of Heaven. They were extremely sturdy and contained a mysterious and vast power fluctuation. Even when the white dragon horse used the Pegasus Dragon Fist, it could not break them in one blow. However, Tianzi knew that if the white dragon horse was allowed to continue, the old goat and the others would be rescued by him sooner or later. Boom. Tianzi threw a punch in the air. Divine light rose from his body as if there were flames burning. It turned into a huge flaming fist print, flowing with endless divine light, and suppressed the white dragon horse. Tianzi, your opponent is me. Shui Wei's eyes were extremely sharp. Her slender jade-like fingers shot out streaks of sharp sword qi. It was extremely terrifying and wanted to stop Tianzi. Get lost. Tianzi did not even look at Shui Wei. He directly threw out a palm and shattered the streaks of sharp sword qi. Then he suddenly sent Shui Wei flying. As for the flaming fist print that he threw at the white dragon horse, it was still coming at it in a mighty manner. It was an attack that was filled with anger, intending to kill the white dragon horse directly. Moreover, Tianzi knew that the white dragon horse had the extreme speed to move the heavens. Therefore, this punch enveloped the old goat and the others. If the white dragon horse dodged, the old goat and the others would definitely fall under Tianzi's punch. Despicable and shameless. The white dragon horse cursed. It really did not dare to take the risk. It could only use all its strength and brace itself to meet Tianzi's punch. Boom. Terrifying chaotic light exploded. The huge dragon shadow formed by the white dragon horse's Pegasus dragon fist suddenly exploded. Endless flames were annihilated. The white dragon horse let out a strange cry, and was directly sent flying by Tianzi. You ants have successfully infuriated me. As a gift, I will grant you death. Tianzi's eyes were extremely cold, and his voice was filled with killing intent. Crack. Thunder and lightning raged in the void. Tianzi's body emitted an ancient and majestic qi. Dazzling divine light lingered around him. It seemed as if an ancient great emperor had appeared behind Tianzi. Tianzi's qi swept across the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Tianzi was filled with an invincible qi. This is the Heavenly Emperor Sutra. Not good, Shuiwei and the white dragon horse are in danger. The old goat's body trembled, and his eyes revealed an extremely solemn expression. Tianzi's strength was extremely terrifying. He was probably one of the top existences in the entire chaotic battlefield. Even if the old goat was confident that Ling Xiao could defeat Tianzi, it wouldn't be that easy. When Son of Heaven was fighting Shuiwei and the white dragon horse, he didn't use his full strength. The Heavenly Emperor Sutra was Son of Heaven's most powerful sutra. Now that Son of Heaven was using the Heavenly Emperor Sutra, it meant that he was using his strongest power. Rumble. As soon as the old goat finished speaking, Son of Heaven made his move. His fingers were like a sword, and in an instant, the sword radiance rose and turned into an incomparably huge sword aura in the void, slashing down toward Shuiwei. The sword radiance split into billions of rays, as if it contained a vast and mysterious world of swords, and directly enveloped Shuiwei. Kill. Shuiwei's eyes were extremely sharp, and the reincarnation light around her rose, turning into a huge reincarnation seal, and flew towards Son of Heaven. Rumble. Heaven and earth shook violently as blazing divine light exploded. Shuiwei's expression couldn't help but change. She felt an unstoppable force assault her. Instantly, the seal of samsara shattered with a loud bang. The sword light turned the light of samsara around Shuiwei into fine powder, and then directly slashed her away. Bastard, eat my fist. The white dragon horse roared, and the blazing divine light around it rose. The dragon's aura was vast, and the dragon's roar shook the heavens. A huge dragon-shaped shadow soared into the sky, turning into a huge fist, and blasted towards Son of Heaven. Pegasus Dragon Fist. When the white dragon horse saw that Shuiwei was in danger, it attacked Son of Heaven. It did not expect to defeat Son of Heaven, but it just wanted to buy time for Shuiwei. You're courting death. Son of Heaven's eyes flashed coldly, and the chaotic light around him rose. The Heavenly Emperor's fist blasted out, and the surrounding chaotic void surged towards the center, and suddenly collided with the Pegasus Dragon Fist. Bang! Endless divine light exploded, and the huge dragon-shaped fist was directly blasted into powder by Son of Heaven. The white dragon horse let out a strange cry, and directly flew out. In 2 moves, Shuiwei and the white dragon horse were both defeated by Son of Heaven. Surrender, you're no match for me. I didn't expect to see a dragon horse here. If you're willing to be my mount, I can spare your life. Son of Heaven stared at the white dragon horse and said, Be your mount? Are you worthy? My master is at least an ancient emperor. I don't even want a despicable and shameless person like you as my mount. The white dragon horse said with disdain, Since you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, then you can only die. Son of Heaven said indifferently, but there was a cold killing intent in his eyes. Rumble. He leaped up, and his speed was as fast as lightning. In an instant, he blasted out hundreds of punches toward Shuiwei and the white dragon horse. Each punch contained boundless divine power, as if it could shatter the void. Blazing divine light exploded, and the chaotic mist rose. The scene was extremely shocking, and it looked extremely terrifying. Bang! 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 Shui and the white dragon horse tried their best to resist, and displayed their strongest strength, but they were no match for Son of Heaven. They were at a disadvantage in almost every blow, and were suppressed by Son of Heaven. Gotcha! A blazing light shot out from Son of Heaven's eyes. In an instant, the bright runes in his palm rose, and directly turned into a divine light that destroyed everything, and shot toward Shui and the white dragon horse. Heavenly World Extermination Light. Daoist Wuyang exclaimed, recognizing that it was a supreme secret skill in the Heavenly Emperor scripture. Its power was extremely terrifying, and it was not something that ordinary people could resist. Chapter 2286. The Heavenly Tao World Annihilation Light was the strongest emperor technique that Tianzi cultivated. It contained the Heavenly Emperor's understanding of the Heavenly Tao and could destroy all life. It was extremely terrifying. In the face of the Heavenly Tao World Annihilation Light, Shui and the white dragon horse's expressions changed drastically. Rumble. Shui's skin was as clear as jade and circles of mysterious runes appeared. She formed a seal in the void with her slender fingers, and the vast power of reincarnation gushed out from her body. Vaguely, there were 6 ancient and mysterious worlds that intertwined with each other, containing extremely terrifying energy fluctuations. 6 paths of reincarnation. Shui channeled the secret art of reincarnation to the extreme, and created a supreme forbidden art. Her body turned into the 6 paths of reincarnation, capable of dragging billions of living beings into the cycle of reincarnation, never to be reincarnated again. Roar. The white dragon horse roared into the sky and released a dragon-like sound wave from its mouth. It was ancient and desolate, powerful and majestic, containing the power to destroy the heavens and earth. Behind the white dragon horse, a huge dragon shrouded in chaos appeared. The dragon's aura was unparalleled, like the ancestor of the dragon clan. As it breathed, billions of stars fell. Roar of the ancestral dragon. This was the immemorial ancestral dragon's supreme superpower, and also the sound wave secret technique that was passed down from the white dragon horse's bloodline. At this moment, it completely exploded, causing the surrounding chaotic void to explode. In the face of the Heavenly Tao World Annihilation Light, Shui and the white dragon horse both chose to use their strongest power to deal with it. Rumble. The Heavenly Tao World Annihilation Light fell, as if it was going to penetrate the heavens and earth. It collided with the 6 paths of reincarnation, and exploded with billions of blazing divine light fluctuations. The roar of the ancestral dragon exploded, and the terrifying fluctuations collided with the divine light, and were annihilated at the same time. However, what shocked Shui and the white dragon horse was that after the 6 paths of reincarnation, and the roar of the ancestral dragon shattered, the Heavenly Tao World Annihilation Light did not seem to be affected at all. It continued to shoot toward Shui and the white dragon horse, wanting to pierce through them directly. The Heavenly Tao World Annihilation Light reflected the Tianzi's cold and majestic face. He was completely filled with murderous intent. Shui and the white dragon horse both felt the threat of death. Both of them quickly retreated to the back, but it seemed like they had no way to avoid the attack of the Heavenly Path World Annihilation Light. Just as the Heavenly World Exterminating Light was about to hit Shui and the white dragon horse, the void suddenly shook violently. A black palm stretched out from the void. Endless darkness surged and collided with the Heavenly World Exterminating Light. Then both were annihilated. Who is it? A divine light flashed in Tianzi's eyes as he gazed into the distance. He could vaguely feel an incomparably powerful aura fluctuation there, which made him feel a great threat. Rumble. The void vibrated as the chaos chi coiled around. An incomparably pure darkness chi spread out like a black sun that appeared in the void. A black-robed figure walked out from the black sun, exuding a dignified, mysterious, domineering, and insufferably arrogant energy fluctuations. It was a handsome young man. His body was slender and strong. His skin glowed, and a powerful aura rose around him. It was suffused with a black light. A faint smile hung on the corner of his mouth, making him look extremely evil. His expression was indifferent as his deep eyes stared at Tianzi. The aura around him was majestic and unparalleled. He was vaguely on par with Tianzi, and he was not at a disadvantage at all. It's him. Old Goat and Taoist Wuliang looked at each other with a strange look in their eyes. The person who came was Darkness Ling Xiao. Although they knew that Ling Xiao's clone, Darkness Ling Xiao, had gone to the demon world and entered the chaotic ancient land to participate in the Heavenly Choice Convention, they did not expect to see Darkness Ling Xiao here. Did young master send his clone to save us? Shui Wei thought to herself. Her big, clear eyes sparkled like stars as she stared at dark soaring cloud without blinking. After Darkness Ling Xiao appeared, Old Goat and the others unconsciously heaved a sigh of relief, as if they had found their backbone. A monster from the demon clan? Among the demon clan, only the original prince and the undying prince can reach the third heaven realm. Who are you? Tianzi stared at Darkness Ling Xiao and said coldly. He could feel the terrifying aura of this young man from the demon clan in front of him. His cultivation had reached the third heaven realm, but he had no impression of this young man in front of him. Especially when Darkness Ling Xiao broke the heavenly Tao world annihilation light with a raise of his hand, Tianzi's expression became serious. If you want to know my name, you'll have to defeat me first. Darkness Ling Xiao smiled indifferently. Then a sharp light flashed in his eyes. The battle intent around him rose as he directly attacked Tianzi. Whoosh! Darkness Ling Xiao's body surged with black demonic light. In an instant, the surrounding chaotic void whistled, as if it had turned into a domain of darkness. Monstrous demonic aura surged as if an ancient demon emperor had come into being. A black fist mark soared into the sky and enveloped Tianzi. Darkness Ling Xiao had obtained the inheritance of the Dark Demon Emperor. Not only did his cultivation break through to the heaven realm, but he also obtained a few secret killing techniques, which made his combat strength unfathomable. After seeing Tianzi, Darkness Ling Xiao was also excited. He wanted to fight with Tianzi to prove his current combat strength. You're courting death. Tianzi's eyes turned cold. He did not expect this young man from the demon clan to be so arrogant. Even the original prince and the undying prince did not dare to be so arrogant in front of him. Darkness Ling Xiao's attitude angered him slightly. Boom. Tianzi's fist was invincible. The chaotic fist mark swept across the void. The vast and terrifying Heavenly Emperor's fist mark exploded with destructive power. It wanted to kill Darkness Ling Xiao directly. Kacha! The two fists collided. The void shook violently, causing the surrounding heaven and earth to rumble. Dark demonic light surged, and a vast emperor's aura vaguely spread out. Darkness Ling Xiao and Tianzi trembled, and were sent flying at the same time. Heavenly Emperor's fist? Haha. That's right. I really want to see how powerful the legendary Heavenly Emperor's fist is. Darkness Ling Xiao's eyes lit up as he laughed heartily and charged towards Tianzi. Boom. 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 Darkness Ling Xiao's body was enveloped by the darkness origin energy. Wherever he went, heaven and earth turned into darkness. The sun and moon were destroyed, and all living beings died. Everything entered the state of returning to the void, causing his fist mark to possess a destructive power. The end of all living beings, the place of returning to the void, was eternal darkness. Chapter 2287. Ultimate Fist. This was a supreme fist technique in the scripture of darkness. It could control the power of darkness origin and shake the heavens. The power of darkness origin. You're the successor of the Dark Demon Emperor? Tianzi's eyes flashed as he stared at dark soaring clouds. The Dark Demon Emperor was the supreme emperor of the demon race. Tianzi had heard of the Dark Demon Emperor's name, and had a certain understanding of him. Therefore, he immediately thought of the Dark Demon Emperor when he felt the aura of darkness origin from dark soaring clouds. So what if you're the successor of the Dark Demon Emperor? It's not like I haven't killed the son of the Dark Demon Emperor. Tianzi's eyes were cold as he soared into the sky and unleashed the Heavenly Emperor's fist towards dark soaring clouds. Boom. In the void, the black and white balls of light collided. It was as if the sun had exploded, spewing out endless blazing light, causing the surrounding sky to tremble violently. Dark soaring clouds and Tianzi moved freely in the void. Their figures collided rapidly and then retreated. Countless afterimages appeared in the void, causing people to be dazzled. It was impossible to tell which one was the real one. They were like spiritual apes climbing up, like divine dragons soaring through the sky, or like ancient vicious beasts fighting to the death. Every strike was incomparably terrifying, aiming directly at the opponent's vital points. The battle had just begun, and it was already incomparably intense. Although the Fist of the Celestial Emperor was known as the #1 fist technique capable of suppressing all the heavens, the Fist of the Abyss was also a peerless monarch technique from the Scripture of Darkness. Combined with the power of darkness, the Fist of the Abyss was pushed to the extreme. Every strike from the Fist of the Celestial Emperor was capable of destroying a world. This demon race monster is so powerful. He can actually fight with Tianzi to this extent? But why did he come to save us? Feng Qingyang said with emotion. Then he looked at the old goat and Taoist Wuliang suspiciously. Maybe he has a grudge against Tianzi. The old goat said with a laugh. A grudge? Feng Qingyang's eyes revealed a trace of suspicion. He felt that the old goat was not telling the truth, as if he was hiding something. This made him even more curious. White Dragon Horse, you and Shuiwei, hurry up and heal your injuries. While Tianzi is distracted, find an opportunity to break the restriction so that we can escape from here. Taoist Wuyang's eyes flashed as he transmitted his voice to the White Dragon Horse and Shuiwei. At this moment, the White Dragon Horse and Shuiwei were also severely injured. Hearing this, they sat down cross-legged and swallowed healing elixirs to heal their wounds. The restriction left behind by the Emperor was incomparably powerful. In their current state, if they forcefully broke the restriction, they would only alarm the Emperor, and they would not be able to save the old goat and the others. The best way was to wait until his injuries were healed, then attack with all his might in his peak state to break the Son of Heaven's restriction, and save the four people. Boom. The void trembled as the black demonic light exploded. Although the End of Ruin's fist was powerful, it still couldn't block the Sky Sovereign's fist. It was shattered by the Son of Heaven's punch. Darkness Lingxiao staggered back, opening up an opening. Kill. Tianzi seized the opportunity. Murderous intent flashed in his eyes. He rushed forward and punched dark soaring clouds in the chest. Kacha. Lightning flashed and chaotic mist intertwined. The Sky Sovereign's fist contained the vast power of heaven and earth. As if it could shatter everything. It fiercely imprinted itself on Darkness Lingxiao's chest. A terrifying power erupted and dark soaring firmament's entire body trembled violently. Then he exploded with a loud bang. It's just an afterimage? Tianzi's eyes flashed. After Darkness Lingxiao was blasted apart by his punch, he realized that it was just an afterimage of Darkness Lingxiao. It cleverly evaded his perception. At this moment, a piercing sound came from behind him. A strong sense of threat surged in his heart. Without thinking, Tianzi directly punched behind him. At the same time he kicked out in the air. There was a violent explosion in the void. This kick seemed to be able to shatter a mountain. Bang! Darkness Lingxiao silently appeared behind Tianzi. A black palm blade slashed down. The blade aura was incomparably blazing. When it collided with Tianzi's punch, a blazing divine light fluctuation erupted. You're quite alert. Darkness Lingxiao smiled faintly. He faced Tianzi's kick in the air and directly punched out. He had just used the teleportation secret technique. In the devil world, he had obtained a great opportunity. In terms of teleportation secret technique, he had even surpassed Tianzi's original body. When he used the teleportation secret technique, even Tianzi's perception was deceived. However, Tianzi was incomparably alert. His battle instincts were strong. He instantly thought of a countermeasure. Boom. Darkness Lingxiao's punch landed on Tianzi's foot. The void trembled, and the chaotic mist dispersed. He flipped his wrist and directly grabbed Tianzi's ankle. A terrifying power erupted from his body, and he was about to lift Tianzi up. Get lost! Tianzi's eyes turned cold. His other foot kicked towards Darkness Lingxiao's face. It was as fast as lightning. If the kick landed, Darkness Lingxiao's head would explode in an instant. At the same time, An unparalleled divine power erupted from Tianzi's body. The blood in his body seemed to be burning. His finger was like a sword as it pierced towards darkness Ling Xiao's forehead. Emperor Imprisoning Finger. It was also a supreme secret technique from the Heavenly Emperor scripture. The power of the Heavenly Emperor's finger was terrifying to the extreme. The Heavenly Emperor's finger was sparkling and translucent like jade, emitting an immortal light. The surrounding void trembled violently, as if it was being twisted by the Heavenly Emperor's finger. The vast heaven and earth directly pressed down on the dark clouds. Bang! Darkness Ling Xiao's other arm blocked in front of him. It collided with Tianzi's foot, and the sound of metal clashing could be heard. At the same time, Darkness Ling Xiao violently lifted Tianzi up and threw him towards the ground. Darkness Sky/Blade. Darkness Ling Xiao's eyes turned serious. There was a black demonic light on his palm, and the surrounding sky trembled slightly. Blazing blade light burst out, and suddenly slashed towards Emperor Imprisoning Finger. He could feel the terror of Emperor Imprisoning Finger. It was as if a casual attack could completely break his body. It had the power to pierce through everything. Gotcha! Although Tianzi was thrown down by Darkness Ling Xiao, Emperor Imprisoning Finger was still in the sky. It suddenly collided with Darkness Sky/Blade, and a dazzling divine light fluctuation erupted. A crisp sound rang out as the dark sky shattered into pieces. The indestructible imprisoning Heavenly Emperor finger shot toward Dark Ling Xiao's glabella. Not good. The old goat and Taoist Wu Yang's faces changed drastically. They could not help but exclaim. Puff! Terrifying divine light surged like the sea. Blazing lightning crisscrossed, and blood splashed. The void was filled with a thick smell of blood. Chapter 2288. The power of the caging Emperor's finger was unparalleled. It contained the power to pierce through everything. Even the dark heavens/blade could not withstand it, and was shattered by the finger. The sharp finger light pierced through everything and suddenly pierced between Ling Xiao's eyebrows. Suddenly, blood light filled the air and the void shook violently. Tianzi's expression changed slightly. He originally thought that the caging Emperor's finger could directly pierce through Dark Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, shatter his primordial spirit, and kill him completely. However, he did not expect that the caging Emperor's finger could only pierce through the skin between Dark Ling Xiao's eyebrows, and was blocked by something incomparably hard. The caging Emperor's finger? It's just SOS. Dark Ling Xiao sneered. The blood between his eyebrows flowed down his cheeks, making his face look evil and cruel. He suddenly stretched out two fingers and black demonic light lingered around them. In an instant, he pinched the caging Emperor's finger, and a terrifying dark force burst out. It contained the power to devour everything and suddenly erupted. Rumble! Dark Ling Xiao used the heaven-devouring secret technique and the scripture of darkness at the same time. His fingers were incomparably sharp. They followed the caging Emperor's finger, and began to extract the energy in Tianzi's body. The terrifying devouring power burst out, as if it could completely devour all vitality. Tianzi instantly felt the origin energy in his body crazily rushing into Dark Ling Xiao's body. Get lost! Tianzi's face turned cold. He wanted to withdraw, but he found that the caging Emperor's finger was firmly imprisoned by a strange force. There was no way for him to escape. Want to leave? Then leave this finger behind. Dark Ling Xiao sneered. Suddenly, an unparalleled divine power burst out from his fingers, twisting them. A crisp sound was heard in the void. Qiu Tiandi's fingers were broken by Dark Ling Xiao. Tianzi groaned and suddenly flew back. His face was slightly pale, but his eyes were incomparably sharp and filled with monstrous killing intent. He did not expect that not only did the caging Emperor's finger not kill Dark Ling Xiao, but it was also broken by him. Who are you? How can your bones be so hard? Tianzi said with an ugly expression. He could sense that Emperor Qiu Tian's finger had failed to penetrate Dark Soaring Sky's sea of consciousness, because it had pierced through Dark Soaring Sky's skull. Dark Soaring Sky's skull was so tough that even Emperor Qiu Tian's finger couldn't penetrate it. Dark Soaring Cloud was a doppelganger refined from Dark Soaring Cloud's original demonic bone. Although it had the same Yuan spirit as the main body, and its potential was even stronger than the main bodies. It was still the original demonic bone. The original demonic bone was an unimaginable treasure, and even the wordless heavenly book couldn't do anything to it. Therefore, although the Emperor's finger was strong, it couldn't break Dark Soaring Cloud's skull. "I told you you don't deserve to know my name," Darkness Ling Xiao said indifferently. Black lightning shot out from his eyes. In an instant he pulled out his arms, and a black halberd with black lightning coursing through it appeared. It was ancient and majestic as it smashed down towards the Heaven Child. Great Desolate Darkness Halberd. This was a supreme divine weapon formed from the power of the origin of darkness. It could transform into thousands of forms according to Dark Soaring Cloud's will. Furthermore, it was extremely sharp, allowing Dark Soaring Clouds to bring out the full potential of the scripture of darkness. Rumble. Above the void, dark light surged, causing the surrounding sky to tremble violently. Dark Soaring Cloud held the great desolate halberd in his hand, like an ancient dark demonic emperor, exuding an insufferably arrogant aura. He wanted to kill the Heaven Child directly. Kill. The Heaven Child's eyes were filled with monstrous battle intent. He was completely enraged by Dark Soaring Cloud. One of his hands emitted a dazzling golden light, turning into a terrifying ancient seal. It floated above the 9 heavens, surrounded by countless figures of chaotic divine demons who were worshipping it. This ancient seal was like an emperor's item that controlled all the heavens and myriad worlds. It was the king of all gods, the supreme authority of all spirits. It contained an unfathomable aura. His other hand was like a sword, and a dazzling and ancient sword light appeared. It was engraved with the mysterious scenes of the human race's struggle, and the war of all spirits. Moreover, the sun, moon, stars, mountains, rivers, and plants appeared, containing the fate of the human race and the fate of all living beings. The Heaven Child unleashed a golden fist print and ancient sword light at the same time, attacking Dark Soaring Cloud. It was as if he was the only one left in the world, dominating all living beings through the ages. This is the Heavenly Emperor's seal and the human sovereign sword? The supreme technique of the Heavenly Emperor scripture, a peerless emperor technique on par with the Heavenly Emperor's fist. This time, Dark Soaring Cloud is in danger. The old goat's eyes flickered as he recognized the peerless emperor technique used by the Heaven Child. He couldn't help but exclaim. Although he was from the demon race, he was a disciple of the heaven-devouring monarch and knew many ancient secrets. He naturally knew many of the Heavenly Emperor's supreme techniques that shocked the heavens and myriad worlds. The Heavenly Emperor's seal was a peerless emperor technique that controlled all the gods, billions of stars, and countless saints. It could control the heavenly Tao's laws and suppress everything with unparalleled power. On the other hand, the mortal Emperor Sword even carried the karmic luck of the human race and all living beings. It contained the brand of all living beings from the moment the chaos was split open to the moment they flourished, and were even destroyed during the great calamity of an era. It could judge all living beings, and was invincible. The Heavenly Emperor's fist, the Heavenly Emperor's seal, and the human sovereign sword. These were the 3 peerless emperor techniques that the Heavenly Emperor used to suppress the heavens and myriad worlds during the ancient times. Even many ancient great emperors were defeated by these 3 peerless emperor techniques. Now, the Heaven Child seemed to be completely enraged by Dark Soaring Cloud. He directly used the Heavenly Emperor's seal and the human sovereign sword at the same time, wanting to completely destroy Dark Soaring Cloud. Rumble. The dark great desolation halberd's aura was monstrous and contained endless devouring power. However, when the Heavenly Emperor's seal appeared in the sky, it was like a resplendent sun that instantly dispersed the endless darkness, leaving only eternal light between the heavens and earth. Crack. The Heavenly Emperor's seal pressed down mightily, and collided with the dark great desolation halberd. It directly shattered the halberd, and continued to fall towards Dark Soaring Cloud. Swoosh. 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 The human sovereign sword floated above the 9 heavens, as if it had directly split the heavens into 2. Mighty sword chi gathered and filled the void for hundreds of millions of miles. It was like a rainstorm that shot towards Dark Soaring Cloud. Those sword lights were invisible sword chi that directly affected the primordial spirit and fate chart. They seemed to have a form, but they were invisible and contained a kind of power fluctuation of the void of destiny. Good. Huh. He Lingxiao laughed loudly. There was no fear in his eyes at all. Instead, his aura fluctuated wildly and terrifyingly. He activated the endless source of darkness around him and pushed his arms out. An ancient and mysterious world of darkness rose up, encompassing everything and capable of devouring everything. In an instant, it was about to swallow the Celestial Emperor's seal and the Runhuang sword. Chapter 2289. Dark Heaven World. It was a peerless emperor technique from the darkness scripture. It could suppress everything and devour everything. It could pull the enemy into the eternal dark heaven world, never to be reincarnated. Facing the heavenly emperor's seal and the human sovereign sword, Dark Soaring Cloud also performed a peerless emperor technique from the darkness scripture. Rumble. Tianzi and Dark Soaring Cloud clashed in the 9 heavens. There was a terrifying shockwave and blazing divine light that blasted everything into nothingness. Dark Soaring Cloud and Tianzi were fighting with all their might. Both of them had performed their strongest techniques. All kinds of divine abilities and secret techniques emerged one after another. Although Dark Soaring Cloud is strong, he might not be a match for Tianzi. The old goat said with a hint of worry in his eyes. Although Dark Soaring Cloud and Tianzi were evenly matched, the old goat was still worried. He knew how powerful Tianzi was and how terrifying the Heavenly Emperor's bloodline was. Once Tianzi was forced into a corner and unleashed the Heavenly Emperor's bloodline, his strength would become extremely powerful. Not to mention, Tianzi had the Heavenly Emperor sword. Although extreme Emperor weapons could not be used in the Chaos battlefield, the Heavenly Emperor sword was not an ordinary extreme Emperor weapon. Tianzi was the son of the Heavenly Emperor. He might have some secret technique that could break through the restrictions of the Chaos battlefield. When that happened, Tianzi, who wielded the Heavenly Emperor sword, would be able to kill everything. He was not someone Dark Soaring Cloud could contend against. Let's think of a way to leave this place quickly. Only by leaving this place can Dark Soaring Cloud escape unscathed. Taoist Wuliang nodded and said, "Buzz." At this moment, Shuiwei and the white dragon horse, who were recuperating, opened their eyes. Their eyes were filled with divine light, and their injuries were mostly healed. Tianzi and that guy are fighting to this extent? This is even better. He has no time to be distracted. We can save you guys. The white dragon horse lifted its head and looked at the battle between Tianzi and Dark Soaring Cloud in the distance. Sister Jinsei, I'll save you guys now. Shuiwei looked at Jinsei in her red dress and was slightly stunned. However, she still smiled brightly. However, there was a hint of bitterness, envy, and melancholy in Shuiwei's smile. Even though Jinsei had lost her memory, she still felt that something was amiss. Thank you. Jinsei nodded faintly, her heart stirring slightly. For some reason, when Jinsei saw this pure and innocent girl in front of her, Jinsei's indifferent and calm heart was slightly disturbed. A complicated feeling slowly filled her heart. Shuiwei and Jinsei looked at each other, and there was a long silence. The old goat, white dragon horse, and Taoist Wuliang looked at each other. They all felt that the atmosphere was a little awkward. Cough cough, this should be the legendary spirit shackles of heaven and earth. It can shackle one's soul and cultivation. If you can't break it in one strike, you will definitely alarm the emperor. Are you confident? The old goat coughed softly, breaking the awkward silence as he spoke to Shuiwei and the white dragon horse. I'll give it a try. It shouldn't be a problem, Shuiwei said with a smile. Wait. The white dragon horse's eyes suddenly rolled around and landed on the unconscious Yi Jiming and the other 3. Bang! 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 The white dragon horse suddenly turned into a flash of white lightning. Its speed was extremely fast as it used the heavenly horse dragon fist. 4 huge hooves kicked the heads of Yi Jiming, Wuxin Arhut, Jun Wuhan, and the soul-catching boy. Yi Jiming and Wuxin Arhut suddenly rolled their eyes and fainted again. However, Jun Wuhan and the soul-catching boy did not have any reaction. Heh, you want to secretly treat your injuries under my nose. You really don't know what's good for you. But the two of you are too trashy. You are not even comparable to this gigolo and the bald donkey. You are wasting my strength. The white dragon horse laughed and looked at Jun Woohan and the soul-catching boy with disdain. The white dragon horse was very sensitive and noticed that Yi Jiming and the other three had awakened. They were secretly healing and cultivating. It simply gave each of them a kick and immediately knocked Yi Jiming and Wuxin Arhut out again. As for Jun Woohan and the soul-catching boy, it was purely an accident. They were already unconscious and were kicked by the white dragon horse. Swoosh! Shuewei waved her sleeves, and the power of space filled the air. She used the heaven and earth sleeve superpower, and put Yi Jiming and the other three into her sleeves. Young Master needs the 12 Sky Skills secret skills. The 4 of them are the saints of the sacred grounds, and they should have the Sky Skills secret skills that Young Master needs. Get ready. I will help you break the heaven and earth spirit binding chains. Shuewei explained to the crowd. Boom. A terrifying aura rose around Shuewei. She slowly stretched out her jade-white palm, and a reincarnation seal slowly appeared in her palm. Terrifying fluctuations spread out as if it could open the door to reincarnation, and send any living being into reincarnation. Her expression became extremely solemn. Then, she bit the tip of her tongue and spat out a mouthful of essence blood, which fused into the seal of samsara in her palm. The seal of samsara shone with golden light. It shone with blazing light, turning Shuewei's palm into a pure golden color. Heaven Path Reincarnation Blade / Shuewei's face was a little pale, but her eyes were extremely bright. She shouted softly and slashed at the heaven and earth spirit binding chains on the old goat, and the other 3. You're courting death. At the same time, Tianzi also noticed Shuewei and the white dragon horse's actions. Murderous intent flashed in his eyes and a terrifying killing intent erupted from his body. He never thought that Yi Jiming and the other 3 would not only be captured alive by Shuewei, but that Shuewei would also break the heaven and earth spirit binding chains to save the 4. This was simply a provocation. Boom. Tianzi used the seal of samsara. A terrifying aura rose around him, and a resplendent golden light bloomed. He suddenly collided with dark soaring heaven, and dark soaring heaven was forced to retreat. Then, he rose into the air and the emperor's sword in his hand shone with unparalleled sharpness. He slashed down at Shuewei. Tianzi, your opponent is me. Dark soaring sky's eyes were sharp. Dark divine light surged around him, and black divine chains of order shot out. They intertwined into a huge net and blocked the emperor's sword. Rumble. Blazing divine light rose, and the emperor's sword collided with the divine chains of order. The boundless power of laws exploded into dust, and the emperor's sword was sent flying by dark soaring sky. At the same time, Shuewei's saber of the heavenly ways slashed at the spirit binding chains as well. The blazing inscriptions exploded loudly, and the powerful seals shattered one by one. The seals on the 4 of them were completely destroyed. Boom. You're tuning in to the Limei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.